Hey now, Adam. Oh my God. How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? Let's get into the story. Stop the
Let's get in
small
the
talk.
story. That's right.
Nobody
Cut the
cares.
small talk. No one cares about us. Michael Cohen. Oh my God. Did you hear the story? Michael Cohen was caught giving Donald Trump a set. Wait, no. We were
A,
talking about that before the
a
stream.
BJ, a glazing you were talking about?
Yes.
A cream filled jelly donut?
Michael Cohen was caught giving Donald Trump a glazing in the courtroom. He literally got in front of the jury and was like, "This is how much I used to love this man." No, none of that happened. All of that, none of that happened. Okay. Adam might again hot. Wow.
Yeah, look, ignore it. I'm working
Too
on it.
loud.
Get to
Okay.
the
Anyway,
story.
to the story. So Michael Cohen admitted today on the witness stand that he has in fact stolen money from Donald Trump's organization. Oh my
Wow.
God. So
What a
here's the
little
story.
thief. Wait, he's an attorney. Aren't all attorneys?
Wow. Okay. Okay. So here's the story. Uh, and this is interesting. Cohen sought reimbursement from a company called Red Finch, a tech vendor, in the cost of 50 grand. So he said to Trump, he said, "Listen, I paid this tech firm, okay, Red Finch 50 grand. This has had to do with doing online polling for Trump in 2016." And Trump said, "Oh, sure, okay, well, I'll write you a check for 50 grand." But it turned out that Michael Cohen took that 50 grand and he only paid the actual Red Finch company $20,000 out of the 50 grand, and he pocketed the 30K himself.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Right, right. So, and then the actual total amount. This is kind of interesting too. The actual amount that he stole was actually greater than that because Trump gave him even more money to cover taxes. So he Cohen actually ended up pocketing 60 grand because of the money for taxes. All right. Now,
Wow.
this okay, I guess the audio is the audio bad. I don't know. People
No,
someone said it was
hey, shut
better, someone
up.
said it was awful. Who
Shut
knows?
up.
You know. Hey, listen, you guys don't know this. Adam always wants to make sure he's louder than me, so he like makes sure to crank himself up extra loud. Okay.
I thought I thought they were talking about you being hot, but
No, you're the one. Everyone said you're too loud.
I know. Look, stop it. Continue with
Turn
the
yourself
story.
down. Turn yourself down. Okay. Anyway, so while you fix your audio, this is why this story is kind of fascinating to me. So Trump's lawyers dragged this out of Cohen while Cohen was on the witness stand. And the reason for this is that they're trying to be like, okay, look, Cohen is obviously, you can't trust him. He's a liar. He's a thief. Look, here's an example of him literally stealing money for Donald Trump. And so therefore you can't take his testimony seriously. That's like Trump's defense's point of doing all this. But, and I'm curious if the state will bring this up, I feel like this could actually totally backfire because while it's true, it shows that Cohen is hyper untrustworthy, which I think everyone already knew that, and is willing to steal from Donald Trump. It also shows that Trump and Cohen would regularly engage in this weird activity where, for some reason that's not clear to me, Cohen ends up paying something for Trump and then Trump pays him back, as opposed to just like, what is the point of doing that? Why doesn't Trump just pay this firm directly? Why does he have to use Cohen as the middleman? And it's the same thing with Stormy Daniels. Instead of Trump paying Stormy Daniels directly, he uses Cohen as the middleman. And this not only shows that he was, again, using Cohen as the middleman in the Red Finch situation, but that he was actually paying him extra money so that when Cohen declares this on his taxes, like he doesn't get a hit for it. You understand?
Right. Yeah, he's paying the taxes as well. That happens a lot in business deals where you're like, I want you if you're going to buy my business, you're going to buy it for enough money that I get as much money as I want and the taxes are paid on top of that. So they'll say, "Look, you're buying my business for $1 million plus $750,000 for the taxes."
Right, right. But so it shows that, yes, it shows Cohen is a liar, but also shows, hey, look, Michael Cohen and Donald Trump would regularly engage in this behavior that he engaged with Stormy Daniels, where Cohen pays someone, or Trump pays someone using Cohen as like this middle ground. So I'm not sure that this will actually, because I saw some people were like, "Oh my God, this totally exonerates Donald Trump. The case is over." And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but it seems like hopeful thinking. But
Well,
we
I
shall
don't know.
see.
Look, I don't know what he's paying. Like, are they going out for drinks and Cohen is like, I'll get it this time and you can just get me back?
Hmm.
What is he paying for? Is he like, look,
Right.
you want to buy a house, Donald? Here, look, let me get this house and you just get me back for it. I mean, that's a bit strange, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
So
what are the things that he's paying for in advance? Do you
what do you,
know?
with, in regards to what?
The you're saying Cohen is paying for stuff and Trump is
Yeah.
paying him back regularly,
Yeah, I'm saying this is it. So we had the Stormy Daniel thing, right?
right?
Obviously, what's the case about? And then I said we had this second example now where the Trump campaign was supposed to be paying for some tech company for doing polling, and he paid through Cohen again the same way. And then that's so Cohen, he claimed it cost more than it did, and then he pocketed the difference,
Right. Okay.
right?
So he marked
So
it
but I'm
up.
saying, but so the fact that he's done the exact same thing he did with Stormy, that can both help the state's case and also hurt the state's case at the same time. So I guess we'll see how the jury interprets the information. Will they interpret it more like, well, this is proof that Trump pays Cohen to do these sorts of behaviors in the past, so therefore he probably did with Stormy Daniel? Or are they going to say, oh, well, this is proof that Cohen is untrustworthy witness, so, I don't really believe what he's saying when, he says that this was to pay off Stormy Daniels, blah, blah, blah.
The polling is less suspicious, so I don't. This can happen from time to time,
Sure,
right?
of course. Well, actually, I mean, I don't know what the business reason is for doing it this way, but
To take care of business. Sometimes, obviously,
mhm,
if Cohen is the one that's the contact with the polling company, right? And
right.
it's like something that needs to be done ASAP, and like they were like, we're not going to move until we get payment, right?
Hmm.
And he's got to go through some long, complicated process to get payment out of the Trump organization. So he's like, look,
Right.
I'll just pay it to get the polling done, and Trump will get me back, with interest because I'll mark it up a little bit. I think this is kind of common in business.
Hmm.
It might not be on the up and up, but I do think people do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there's some tax reason, some financial reason that they're doing it this way. There's got to be some reason that they're doing it this way. But
Right.
Trump
So
didn't know
what's
about Daniels. Cohen had the issue brought to him. He chose to pay it all, then just overbill Trump. Well, that's interesting theory. I don't believe Trump's team has claimed this overbilling thing in regards to Stormy Daniels. In regards to Trump not knowing about it, that doesn't seem to be the case because there is an audio recording of Donald Trump talking about paying Stormy Daniels and trying to delay payments until after the election, which happened. So that seems unlikely that that Trump would not know about it at all, considering he's on audio talking about paying her. So,
right? All right. How's
but
this
anyway, I guess we'll see about how the jury thinks about this. I believe closing statements, they're expecting next week, and then we'll see how long it takes the jury to wrap this up.
next week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yes,
Well, I guess Wednesday they're off. So
right. They're off Wednesdays.
who knows?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that when we talked about the debate. We forgot to talk about that. The debate offer, the throwdown. Joe Biden was like, Donald, we're gonna debate, and he said, "I heard you have Wednesdays off." Okay,
Yeah, I remember that.
which is a jab at the fact that this trial doesn't meet on Wednesdays, and it was kind of weird because I saw a lot of people on the left. They're all like dancing around, like, "Oh my God, sick burn, Wednesday's off." I think they're even trying to make like Biden t-shirts that said something about like Trump having Wednesdays off. And I don't know. I'm just looking at this like
Nobody
I
knows
don't.
that.
First of all, it's like who
It's not a
knows
sick
this?
burn. I had to ask you what the hell he meant by it. I
I
was
know,
like,
and I
well, I
had to look
sense
it
there's a
up.
joke there, but I'm not sure what it is.
I had to look it up because I didn't know either. So it's like, okay, no one knows the joke. Then even if you know it, you're like, is that even really a sick burn? It's like, no, not really. And
Here,
then on
here's
top of it, it's like, oh, that kind of makes it seem more like the trial is obviously more political because your political opponent's like
oh,
rubbing
you're
it in your
right.
face and everyone's like doing like a little dance about. I don't know, just it doesn't really hit me as like this like amazing.
Yeah, the way to deliver that joke is to give the information in the joke. You say, "I hear your trial is not meeting on Wednesdays," right? Because then
Yes.
tell what's going on, right?
Right. That is true. But even then, if you tell it that way, again, when the trial is kind of being perceived as a political maneuver, I don't think making a joke like that is ever good in the first place.
It's not, is it? Is it?
No.
You
It's kind
say,
of just
"Look,
like,
I hear my attorney general is not prosecuting you on Wednesdays."
yeah, exactly. Well,
It's
it's New
like,
York.
what?
It's the state of New York, but
Yeah, obviously the attorney general is not involved in the
right.
case, but I mean, you get what I'm saying,
No,
right?
exact, but that exactly. So I'm just like, I'm like, that's not the joke I would have made.
Right.
So
Danger.
yeah, I was like, okay. So anyway, yeah. So next week, let's see, testimonies believed to wrap up on Friday. Closing arguments are actually scheduled for next Tuesday. So we'll see. And actually, I am curious. I'm sorry, I just hit my mic. I am curious if on the closing statements, if they'll be allowed to play that clip or talk about that clip of Bill Maher having the old clip of Stormy Daniels, who said that it wasn't like sexual assault or anything, and then contrast that with her now sort of saying that it's sexual assault, because that would obviously be a big boon to Trump's case or his defense.
Yeah. You you postulated that they might include that in their the Trump side might include that in their closing statements just to say, look, Stormy Daniels is completely unreputable.
Right.
And even Bill Maher, who hates Trump, is willing to admit it.
Yes. And though it would have now, I don't know if this is intentional just because of the scheduling, because, Bill Maher shows on Friday and Stormy Daniels testified and they wrapped up her testimony before Friday. Because if she was still being testifying when that clip came out, they could have played it and like challenged her with it when she was on the witness stand. But they lost the opportunity to do that because of just the timing of Bill Maher's show. So
Hot. So how does this affect the presidential run? Who's going to win? Trump or Biden? What do you
I don't
think?
know. Well, it's interesting because we both thought that Trump should 100% try to go to jail for um, breaking the gag
Yes.
order. And listen, I hate to say it, he pussied out.
He's he's got himself in line now?
Trump totally pussied out
What a weak
on breaking the
president.
gag order. Yeah, look at that. Do you want a
Yeah.
president who's Do you guys want a president who's not willing to break a phony gag order? Okay. I think you should. I am kind of surprised. I mean, no one wants to go to jail, I guess, but I'm kind of shocked. I would have thought that just creating that much of like a logistical nightmare and creating all that publicity would be right up Trump's alley, and he didn't do it. Very surprising to me.
Do you want a president who can control himself?
No,
Of
I
course
want a
not.
president who's going to be like, I've got a big button, Kim. My button's bigger than yours, and I'm going to press it. You just watch. I'm going to press the button.
Yeah, of course. We don't want that. We want to be entertained.
I know. I know. Sad. Sad.
It is sad. That's what the world has
Anyway.
come to. Sitch, what are
Yeah,
you going to
but
do?
and I am hyper curious to see if this will affect the election or not. I mean, I'm still not convinced that I think he's probably gonna get off. I think get off again.
He's going to get
It's
off?
He's gonna get off again. I think it's gonna
Cohen
be
is
a
that
hung
good, is
jury.
he?
I think it's gonna be a hung jury, essentially. I think they're not gonna be able to come to any sort of agreement on anything. So,
Right. Okay.
and then it'll be like I guess that would help Trump. If I think that would definitely help Trump. If he's found innocent or they can't decide, I think that'll help Trump. If he's found guilty, I think it'll hurt him, but not that much. But I think it would do more damage than helping him if he's found guilty. So,
Can't wait to
uh,
see what happens.
yep. Solid for $5 says, I'm back. YouTube sucks. Scouting question. Did you ever participate in the Pinewood Derby? I did twice when I was a Cub Scout. I did the Pinewood Derby every year. Okay. Though you don't know what that is, Pinewood Derby is when you're in Cub Scouts. That's like Boy Scouts, but when you're uh, before middle school. And it is where you get a little box, a little kit, and you make a little car. You have to make a little wooden car, and you can like carve it however you want. And the wheels, you have to just like basically nail them on. There's all sorts of rules about like what you can and cannot do. And they have like a track, and it's like a big ramp, and you have like five people, and they all put their little car at the top of the ramp. And whoever's car, is the fastest, it gets to the bottom first, like wins. And then they kind of do like a competition to see who has like the fastest Pinewood Derby car. And And it's always funny because you would go there and you would tell like the kids who did the car themselves and the kids whose fathers helped them, and then the kids whose fathers just did the car themselves. Right? So it'd be like there'd be the car that looks kind of like janky, like all the, 10-year-olds or 8-year-olds made. And then there's the cars that look like so well made. You're like, there's no way this like 8-year-old kid made this car, right?
It's
Like, how
like a
much is this?
plywood Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly. It's like perfectly like cut and like sanded down in the exact shape. Because it'd always be like, all the fathers would get together and they'd always argue about like, well, if you do the shape this way, it's more aerodynamic. If you do shape this, like everyone argues about how to make it like the most effective, way. And there'd be people that have like this amazing paint job and they're like perfect cut and perfect sanding, and you're like, okay, your kid's like 7, 8. I don't think they did that on their own. So
Right. Well, they had an assistant.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Though, it's interesting because, because I'm so old, back in my day when I did the Pinewood Derby, the internet wasn't a thing and there was no YouTube. And I just thought about it. Now you could just look up like what is the best way to make the car, right? Like it'd be so easy to figure out the most aerodynamic way to make your little Pinewood Derby car. So I bet you if you show up to the Pinewood Derby now, you're gonna see like 30 identical looking cars because everyone's figured out the most efficient way to do these stupid little cars.
Oh, okay. I see. So they give you the bottom of it and you got to make the top of the car.
It's
They give
just
you
like a
like the
block.
platform of wheels. Yeah.
It's just like a block of wood. And
Right.
you can cut it into like whatever shape you want, and then you just attach the wheels to it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Right. So,
Interesting.
but yeah, I bet it's all ruined now. I bet everyone's figured out the maximum. I even looked it up now. You can actually buy like maximum velocity Pinewood Derby card already made.
Right.
Right.
Guaranteed to win.
Yeah, exactly.
I brought up a picture so you guys can see the little racing cars.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun. I feel like it's probably ruined now. Can you imagine like that? See, that'd be so obnoxious. You go to the Pinewood Derby, it's like this little thing for your kids, and someone shows up and you're like, they've bought the pre-bought, $70 car from Amazon that someone already made. You're like, come on. Come on. Really? Like, what is even the point? Like, I'll be honest, like, I
The
don't know if this
point
is
is to destroy all of these little pipsqueaks.
I don't like it, yeah, it's like it's fun. See, here's the thing. When I was a kid, okay, it was fun to make the little car and it's
Uh-huh.
fun to like race it, but the thing that makes it fun is to see like, oh, how well did this thing do that I made, right?
Oh my God, what a pussy.
If you I know, right? I'm
The
not like, oh my God, like if I went and bought like a pre-made car and then won, like I wouldn't care. I'd be like, well, I don't know. I just, my parents spent money on bought me something. Like, why would you get any emotional sense of pride or achievement from doing that action?
Because you destroyed the competition.
Like, who cares? Who cares? It's
Look
same thing
at
like if your
you.
father just made the car for you. I don't know. You wouldn't have like a
Okay.
good sense of feeling about the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah.
You don't think so? You'd be more competitive. You're just like,
Yeah, look, it's like you're competing on a different level. You're like, that's right, pores. Look, we
here's
hired an
a
architect.
here's the first lesson, okay? The rich always win.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, see, look, there you go. Best part of the Pinewood Derby is trying to make it look cool, not how well it did. Yeah, I always try to make it look cool. Like, I always had a lot of fun, like, painting it, putting flames on it, putting skulls on it, just making it look really, cool looking. So,
Did they have a there was a race, but they should have had like a aesthetic competition as well. Like
you're
which one
right.
looks coolest.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think they did, but you're right. There should have been, you're completely right. There should have been like, who's the fastest, but then also whose looks the coolest,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Though I would not have trusted at that age a bunch of like adults to make the
Not getting
determination.
involved.
That's what they should have
Why don't
done.
they just do the dad competition? Why, like, stop messing around with your kid's car. Look, just enter the
True.
dad's competition.
True. You know what? That's what they should have done. They should have had the kids vote on what car looks the coolest
Right.
too. And so
Oh,
you
that
have
would
a
have been
second award,
great.
right? That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Get the kids involved. Look at this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And boys get 2 votes and girls get 1 vote.
There weren't any girls there. Well, I guess there could be now, but
Well, now the girls are allowed, so
that's true.
we just
That's
got to
true.
show them how it's done. Look, it is the Boy
Exactly.
Scout still, right?
You're like, oh, you're gonna have your pink rainbow Barbie car
Oh
with the
yeah.
unicorn's gonna
Oh
win. Nuh-uh.
yeah.
Mine's got flames and skulls on it, okay? That makes it go faster.
Of course.
Okay. The Cringe for 19 months, thank you so much, says, hey Adam, have you heard of a game called Fumes on Steam? It might be up your alley.
I have not had a lot of time to play games, but I'm hoping once I get the comic out, I'll have
I've
some
never
more
heard of that
time on my
game either.
hands.
Oh,
I'll
it's
check it
like
out.
a the car game where you got like a gun on your car and you drive around and blow people up
Oh,
and
well,
stuff.
that is right up my alley. Look,
Yeah,
I
there
love
you go.
Carmageddon, Carmageddon 2,
Right.
Carpocalypse now. I used to play Carmageddon 2 all the time.
Yes.
That's my favorite game on the PC.
See,
Played it
that's what the
once with some people in our Discord server because they had a new version of Carmageddon, but
Mhm.
wasn't as cool.
There is a South Park episode about the Pinewood Derby. I'm trying to remember. I think Stan's dad cheats, if I recall correctly. He puts like an engine in it or something ridiculous, and it like goes back in time. I don't know. Something ridiculous happens. But see, that's what we should have done for Pinewood Derby. We should put like a gun, like a little gun turret on top of it that shoots the other cars,
Oh,
right?
that would be great. A little flamethrower.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It's wood. Just burn it down.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it. You know what? That would have been cool for. Did you ever watch the show BattleBots?
of course. Look, it's got robots in it. What do you think, Sitch?
Yeah, there was a show like a million years ago. I don't know if it's even still around called BattleBots, where people would make these little robots that they look like Roombas essentially. They're like these like little low on the
Yeah.
ground remote controlled robots that have like razor blades and they'd have little like flippy things that would make them like make one car flip the other car, which was always like a popular thing.
Or cut limbs off.
Yeah, or they had like little saws and things and all sorts of like little weapons. They had little spikes. And then they would fight in an arena that had saw blades on the floor. And it was like, it was so cool. Like the whole thing was you try to destroy the other person's robot. They should have done that for Boy Scouts. That would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Okay. Lucifer Doberman for 26 months. Thank you so much. Says A Team reigns supreme. Look at
Of
that.
course. So obvious, but thank you for saying it.
Brian Schultz for 10 months says S Class is Mossad agency. And is behind the Iranian crash. Everyone thanks Sitch for saving the Iranians. That's right. We're going to talk about that in a second.
We are.
But
Yeah, exactly. Is that true? Were you involved in this?
I can neither confirm nor deny
Oh,
any
yeah,
involvement. All
baby.
right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Listen.
We've
Fine.
got a special agent for the IDF over here.
I said neither confirm nor deny. All
We
right.
heard you. We know what
Listen,
you wink
if
wink.
listen,
We know what you're
listen,
saying.
if I'm an agent for any country, which I can neither confirm nor deny, it's for the good old US of A. All right.
Of course. Yes, exactly. Sleeper
Uh,
agent.
that's right. Wait, no, wait, what? Listen, I had to sleep with many Iranian girls to get this information. I hope you can
Uh,
appreciate it. All
yeah.
right.
That's cool.
Fondue for, I mean, listen, it's a little risky when you sleep with them because they're wearing all that stuff, all the cloth. So
Oh yeah.
you don't know what's under there until you
They're
get, until you
probably
get there,
mic'd
right?
up like crazy, right?
Well, I meant in terms of like whether they're attractive or not.
Oh, okay.
You could look at those eyes and you're like, like they look pretty hot. And then you're like, oh no, they just had like a good eye makeup game. It was a trick. It's all a trick underneath. Okay. Fondue for 26 months says, at this point, I'm starting to feel old. Also, I don't know that Trump isn't going to be found guilty. Viva keeps saying New Yorkers can't be impartial. Well, I mean, that's also very possible. This could all be for naught because the jury could just be heavily biased in favor of Trump as it is. So
Yeah. Who
that
knows?
is
I
true.
will we'll
Even
know
though,
next week. Thank
right.
goodness.
Even though I do think, I mean, obviously, I think Trump did the thing. I just don't think it's actually that big of a deal. But
Right.
Ian for $5 says, Sitch, I'll meet you at the Red Bull soapbox race. There you go.
Nice.
That's like the Pinewood Derby, but for adults. Cameraman, if I were to for $5 says, Americans love winners, Sitch, and won't tolerate a loser. Listen,
True.
America loves people who don't cheat. All right. America's all about winning with integrity and honesty and learning valuable lessons in the process. It's not about buying a pre-made car. Okay.
It's not whether you win or lose.
It's how you play the game.
It's how you play. It's painful
Right.
to say. Ugh.
I literally had a shirt that said that. Okay.
Right.
Do you remember all
Yeah.
those? I had all these like stupid sports
Hmm.
shirts when I was in elementary school. I try to remember. They had like animals on top of like it'd be like a chameleon on a basketball and it looked like a basketball and it would say something like that, or it'd be like a pit bull. It's like a whole
I
brand about this.
There should be a shirt that has that in quotes. It's not whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game.
Yeah.
Sign the losers.
Ah, terrible.
I know it is. It is terrible. Look, we got to foster that kind of ethos. But look, America does love a winner.
There you go. It's
It
true.
really is. Yeah. Good
The Vanilla,
sportsmanship is important, though. Obviously.
of course.
Yeah.
The Vanilla Queen for 7 months says, "Does this mean I can finally get my first fist fight with Sitch, which I believe I'm entitled to as being a member of S Class?" I don't
Is that how an S class
recall.
rolls? Wow.
Yeah, I don't recall that being an entitlement for being S Class. I don't know if you know this, but Sitch is the supreme Ayatollah leader of his class. Okay. It's not an elected position. I am a leader for life. Now, you guys can fight amongst yourselves to try to determine, like, to get ranked up, below me, right?
Wow.
If you
Really?
want, like, yeah, like if
Wow.
Vanilla Queen wants to become an S class general, they can challenge an existing S class general to a fight, okay, for that title and rank.
My
So.
goodness. S class is like a gang.
Yeah, we have fun here. Okay.
That's
We have fun
okay.
here. Yeah, what do? You do
Well,
things like
I
based
just,
on merit?
yeah, of course.
Oh,
Look, I
you
just
give them
make
like,
everyone is like a brigadier general in A
oh, so
team.
you're a communist. Everyone has the same rank.
Well,
There's
look,
no hierarchy.
A team is so superior that
Yeah.
everyone literally is a brigadier general.
Yeah, that's
It's a
communism.
meritocracy.
That's communism.
No,
There's
it's
you
not.
flatten the
How dare
hierarchy.
you?
Okay, there's Adam who's the dictator, and then everyone under him has the same rank. Okay, they're all just brigadier generals.
How dare you, good sir? How
Uh-huh.
dare you sully the name of A team?
Okay. Mr. Borelli for $10 says, "Sometime this week, can you quickly cover David Pakman's recent video called Caller Dares Me to Answer This Question? Interesting question he asked. I'm curious what you think of his answer on
Hell yeah. Look,
GAC."
I love covering David Pakman videos. He's
Sure.
crazy.
We could check that out. Yeah. I haven't watched Pac-Man in a while,
Right.
but I'll check it out. So, Caller Dares Me to Answer This Question.
Hmm.
JMac, our surrogate father, thanks so much, Daddy JMac, for the $10. Says, "I literally just got my wife and daughter obsessed with BattleBots. Apparently, they kept making seasons well into the 2010s. Well, look at that.
That's great.
That's
Yeah, they
cool.
have so much cool off the shelf technology now that show's got to be. I mean, I'm surprised it's not still going.
You're right. Oh my God, it's really they got to bring back BattleBots with the robots have like AI.
Lasers and shit.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, I meant like have AI where instead of a human controlling it, it's like it just does like it's programmed to do its own thing. Like that'd be interesting.
Half the audience is blinded by a battle bot.
Okay,
Come
let's not do
on.
that. Let's not do that. Ocracy for $5 says, "Someone get Sitch a quote, I played right and lost." Sure.
Yes, there you go.
There you go. Wolf Spade for $2 says, "If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning." Winners. Yeah.
I
Terrible.
know. That's what I was thinking. Look,
Terrible.
my granddad said that. Look, he sat me down and he said, "Son, if you're not cheating, you're not playing to win."
Did he really say that?
Yes.
That's so bad. What the hell?
Look,
Why?
he was like World War II and Korean vet. So I
He
mean,
did
look,
both? I don't
yeah.
think he did both, Ed.
No, he was definitely he was in Korea. I'm not sure about World War II.
Yeah, he was
I'm pretty
okay.
sure he was in World War II though.
My grandfather was in Korea, and my
Oh,
great
was he?
uncle was in World War II. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was in a
Ah,
MASH unit. He was a doctor.
yes. So look, that is the philosophy of war, right?
I mean, is it?
Well,
I don't know if that's
it's life
true.
or death. It's
I
life or
think, listen,
death.
I think we can treat the competition
When was the
of,
Geneva Convention?
listen, I think we can treat the competition of life and death a little differently than the Pinewood Derby. Okay. Pinewood Derby is not a life or death competition. The children who lose are not executed, okay, for their
Right,
loss.
right. look,
right?
civilians are not part of the
Right.
are not part of the competition, but you definitely want to win if you're
Okay.
going into battle.
Right. Say no more for 5 Canadians says Sitch and Adam always seem to be about finding out what is right and not proving yourselves right. Plus, it's always fun. Thank you, Sitch and Adam. My go to the podcast. Well, thank you. We try.
My go-to podcast. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. The real Holtonator for $20. Thank you. Says, and this is why I'm S class. I would not fist fight Sitch. Hitting women is wrong. Wow. Look at that.
Look
Listen,
at that.
I don't know how Holtonator found out that I was coming out as trans. Okay.
Oh
This is
yeah.
breaking news. Sitch is
Well, I wouldn't
officially
want to be
transitioning
transphobic
to
either.
Sitch Chan. Yeah. Yeah. Would you guys accept me if I changed my avatar to be a big busty Sitch Chan? How would you
I
feel about
mean,
that?
not only would I accept it, I would
Yeah.
encourage it.
I did see this is a surprise. I want to tell you this. I'm actually getting one of those, moving avatars, little cartoon
Hmm.
avatars that all the Japanese anime girls have. And it's
Are
gonna
you
be a
really?
big tittied Sitch-chan avatar, right?
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting
How,
show branding, but we can
how
discuss it.
how would you feel if when I talked, I had a moving female big Tata's Sitch-chan avatar, but still my voice coming out of it? Would you like that, or would that make you feel uncomfortable?
I was never uncomfortable by Dr. Girlfriend on Venture Brothers, so you get used
We're
to it.
into it. Okay.
You get
Right.
used to it. You're like, okay, well, she's
Yeah.
got a deep voice, but I mean,
Okay.
she's easy on the eyes.
Right, right, right. Okay. So you'd be in favor of it.
Well, let's see how it goes.
All right.
I'm
All
not
right. We'll
opposed
see.
to the idea.
Okay. Jackorama for 21 months. Thanks so much. Says I, for one, like the A team system. I could be a brigadier general and still be a slacker.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go.
Look at that.
There you go. It looks like most people, there's a couple people in chat saying they would not be comfortable, but it looks like most people want it. Most people want the big Todd VTube avatar. So
Look,
there you go.
I
Look at that.
we'll talk about it.
Look at that. Look, there's Sammy G's Sitch Chan.
I know I brought it up real quick.
There you go.
Just give them a taste of it.
Give him a taste. Yeah.
Little
Zoomer.
sample.
Yeah. Chad Summer for €5 says a Richter scale 7.0 earthquake was recorded in Canada today as Dev fell on his fat face, reaching for his third bucket of chicken. How embarrassing. Oh my God. Look at this.
Wow.
Chad, continue. Chad, are you sending Dev
Chad.
these super chats? Chad is determined to mock Dev into losing weight, apparently.
Chad, you're like a dev terrorist here.
I know. It's awful. Awful. But also funny. Ostrich for $5 says, Sitch, you better pay extra for the jiggle physics on your avatar. Of course I will.
Wow. Yeah.
Of course. There you go.
It's all about jiggle physics.
Of course. Okay. Let's move on to the next story.
Back to the important stuff. Back to the news.
Yes.
All
Well, is it
right.
important that the Iranian president ate it? He died. He super ultra mega died.
Iran's president and foreign minister die in helicopter crash at moment of high tensions in Mideast. So look,
Yeah.
even AP is kind of implying that was it an accident? I mean, there's a lot of tension in the Middle East right now. Is Sitch a sleeper agent for Israel?
Listen, I'm a sleeper agent. I mean, I can either confirm or deny I'm a sleeper agent for America. Okay.
Okay.
This is real shit. This is bigoted and offensive.
Apparent helicopter crash carrying Iran's president, foreign minister. Look, they're even hedging with apparent.
Yeah, well, no one knows as of yet. Though I don't believe currently Iran is not made an accusation.
Right.
They're not blaming anyone. But anyway, so you bring up that picture.
Okay.
That
So
I sent
this
you, the
is
fog picture.
this is the fog.
This is the weather conditions. Okay.
Right.
Now listen, I don't know about you, right? But if that's the condition of weather, I'm not getting in a helicopter and flying through a mountainous region, right? Just I don't know how you feel about that. I'd be like, that's a lot of fog. Okay. I'm not sure you want to be flying through that in your little helicopter, right?
Yeah, as a pilot though, you're I think part of the training is that you have to be able to fly just with instruments alone. Like you're not supposed to be able to see. So
Uh-huh.
you're supposed to be able to fly in these kind of conditions. I mean, look, is it an Iranian helicopter? I don't know what kind of
It's a helicopter
instrumentations they
from
have.
the year 2000, I think. The 2000, so it's like a 24-year-old helicopter, and it's an Iranian
Okay.
pilot, obviously.
So it's like
So,
a antique. The
yes.
Yeah, I don't know the situation. Iran supposedly, obviously as an American, we all think, okay, we have the latest technology, but Iran, right? Come on, they're living in the past. But supposedly Iran has a thriving drone industry that they're producing drones and sending them over to Russia and other state actors to use in military reconnaissance and airstrikes and stuff like that. So you would think Iran has some competence in this kind of technology, right? Flying technology.
Hmm.
Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Well, or it could have just been that. Listen, I've never flown. I don't know if you guys know this. Okay. I'm going to tell you some really dark Stitch lore. It's really
Hmm.
embarrassing for me to admit this, but I will. All right. Because I care about you and I care about being
You've never
honest.
piloted an airplane?
I've never piloted an airplane. I've never flown an airplane. Okay. I don't know if I know. Listen, I know it's embarrassing to admit that. I've never flown an airplane. I don't have or I've never flown a helicopter either. I don't have a
Wow.
helicopter's license or anything like that.
Not even a
So
drone? You haven't piloted a drone?
I actually haven't. No, that looks like it'd be a little
Really?
fun to
Oh,
fly the little drone
wow.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
I've
assuming now listen, I'm ignorant here, so I could be wrong. I'm assuming that having a little remote control where you fly the drone is somewhat different than flying a helicopter. Just a guess.
Yeah, it's probably different, but
Just a little tiny bit different.
I mean,
So, yeah.
it does involve some kind of technology though. Like you don't you in order to manufacture drones, you think, well, you need a factory, right? You can't just do that in some cave somewhere.
Well, ask Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I stand
But
corrected. The MCU has proven has
there you
proven you
go.
right
There you
once
go. But
again.
uh-huh. But no, but the problem with the instruments, so okay, so they're flying these helicopters in this fog. Now there were three helicopters. I believe this is the only one that crashed. Very suspect, right? No, but you're right. Even if they have like instruments and all this stuff, I don't think it's not like I, I could be wrong. I mean, if Chad knows this, it's not like a video game. I don't think the helicopters have like magic sonar radar that like shoots out and gives them like an accurate mapping of the mountains that they're flying over. So they could just fly straight into a fucking mountain if they can't see where they're going.
I mean, some planes do have that kind of technology that they
No,
know how far
they
they are from
might,
the
but I don't
ground
think
and
I don't think this little helicopter has that technology. I don't think it has
yeah,
some
I
way to like
guess
see
not.
through the fog. So
Yeah. Oh wow.
I know. So okay, so the president has flown directly into a mountain, is crashed, and is totally super ultra dead. So here's some background on the president of Iran. Okay. So he claims, and this is interesting, he claims that his family is a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah,
Did you know that?
that's pretty standard. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess that's true
That's
because he's
that's
Shia.
like
Well, no, and
everyone in
apparently, like,
politics.
if you ever seen him, he always had this black turban on, and supposedly that's to signify that he's a direct descendant from Muhammad. If you ever see someone with a black turban. In 1990, no, sorry, 1988, the president, uh, Raisi, served on what would become known as the death commissions, which handed down death sentences for political prisoners, militants, and other international rights groups, and they estimated that he killed as many or was involved with executing as many as 5,000 people.
Wow.
Right.
I can think of 5,000 people who are not crying that he died in a helicopter crash.
Well, they're dead, so that makes sense.
Right.
There actually was a funny statement. Oh, where was it? Where some journalists for like AP or Reuters, they interviewed some like random guy in Iran who runs a business, and he's like, "Oh, that guy sucks. I don't care that he's dead."
Yeah,
Or
look,
like
these kind of people develop a lot of enemies.
right. Lucer Doma says helicopters don't have radar. The blades would create too much interference. Well, there you go.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. Listen, I don't know how any of this stuff works. Okay. Listen, I could barely carve out my little Pinewood Derby car. You think I know how a little helicopter works? So, oh, and so we say, okay, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean for Iran's political structure? And apparently, it actually doesn't really mean jack shit for Iran's structure because Iran has a supreme Ayatollah leader for life who is the real person that's in charge of Iran, and the president is sort of like, their butler.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the person who just does, like who's like technically they vote for, but doesn't really matter. So as long as they have the supreme leader Ayatollah in Iran, he's sort of like the real head honcho. So it doesn't really make a big political difference that this guy died as of yet. The first vice president, because they had multiple vice presidents for some weird reason, is now the acting president. Probably not a big deal in terms of shaking up Iranian politics. So, oh, and he was flying back from they had Iran and Azerbaijan had a joint dam on the border that they were working on. And that's what he was flying back from. They had him fly out there. He looked at the dam. He took the little champagne bottle. He broke it over the side of the dam. Then he flew back and, died. So there you
Right.
go.
According to the internet, helicopters do have radar. So,
Well, look at that.
so
Take that, Doberman.
a hovering or slowly flying helicopter has a radar return made up of two parts. One constantly changes with the new position of the rotor blades, and the second does not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But can
But
they
anyway,
detect mountains?
that's what radar does. Look, if you're in an aircraft, you got to know where the ground is.
Hmm.
Very dangerous.
Well, that is a very important part of flying, knowing where the ground is. That's
It
true.
is. It's the most important thing.
That's true.
Yes.
I would expect that. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, look, if you're
Anyway.
the Iranian president and you look out and you see this kind of fog, right? And they're
Hmm.
like, "Sir, we're taking you directly to meet with the Ayatollah today."
Right.
What are you thinking? What are
I'm
you
not
like?
thinking anything good.
You're like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
we just drive?
Mm.
Why do we need to go on a helicopter?"
See, you should have taken a train back or something. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Should have taken the presidential, car back. Right. Maybe the presidential aircraft back, but he took the presidential helicopter. Not a
I
good
mean, you
idea.
are the president, right?
Right. Yeah. Snap, snap. I've never been in a helicopter, so I
All
hear they're
right.
not the safest vehicles.
So the Ayatollahs are in power. They don't, so this really doesn't matter. They're like, yeah, just prop up a new,
Essentially, yeah.
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 But it is
Philip,
good clicks for the AP here.
that's true. Philip Kogan's for $10 says, pilot here. Most modern helicopters have the gear to fly in instrument conditions. This was a 40-year-old airframe, essentially a civilian Huey. Helis can have radar, it just points away from the rotors. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Points out over the rotors so you can see the mountain that you're about to crash into.
Well, listen, maybe it was like he was flying so low, and they fly kind of at an angle that it was pointing down to the ground. He's like, "Look, we're fine. We're so away from the ground." Bam! They ran straight into it, right?
Yeah, maybe.
And actually, it wasn't just the fog too. Apparently, these mountains are so high up that it was like blizzard conditions as well.
Well,
So
that could, I mean, they could have got blown into the mountain if that's the
that's
case.
true. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. So this just seemed like a real horrible place to be flying your helicopter. It's got fog and blizzard, and you're just like a lot of mountains. Not
Or a
great.
great place if you're trying to get rid of the Iranian president.
Well,
It
that's
could
a
be the
good point.
perfect place.
That's true. That's a good point.
Didn't Prigozhin, Putin's chef, have a have an accident in an aircraft?
Putin's chef, huh? Huh? Remember when Prigozhin was attempting his coup that utterly failed,
Right.
and all these like Russia simps and weirdos on the internet were like, "This is all some kind of 10D chess move from Putin to, make the Ukrainian military make some mistakes so that he could, win the war." And they were like swearing this up and down, and then obviously that all turned out to be completely just headcanon fantasy bullshit that they made up.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay.
It was funny.
Right.
Stop whispering. Speak into your microphone.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Now that I've turned everything way down,
Right. We should just turn yourself down, not me down. I was fine.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, look at this guy. Okay. Tommy Samosin for 50 Donkey Kong dollars says Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son is next in line for the job. There are many potential motives and suspects.
Yeah, they're
Ooh, interesting.
helicoptering right over to the palace right now.
Right. That's interesting. Though, I mean, my understanding was that the current president was pretty liked and was basically put into position by the current Ayatollah. So, unless they had some kind of falling out, but
A
maybe.
falling out, Sitch.
Yeah.
You're on it today.
Thank you. Thank you. I do what I can. They had a very rocky relationship. No,
They did.
no.
They had an explosive disagreement.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Cameraman 502 for 15 months says Iran's president pulled the Stevie Ray Vaughan. Huh. I'm pretty sure instruments don't tell you a mountain is in your way. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Terrible. Also known as pulling a Kobe. The real Holtonator for $2 says, where can I bombard you with shorts to laugh at?
You can send us DMs.
Are you talking about like video shorts, or you want to like physically send us like shorts to wear? I don't understand. What's the question here?
I think probably video shorts, but
Okay, you could send it to Twitter DMs, yeah. Brian Alman for $10 says apparently no one in Iran has heard of Kobe Bryant. True, true.
right. Yeah.
Fondue for $2 says not even airplane simulator Sitch. Nope. I've tried. They're too complicated. I go, there's too many buttons, and I just crash a plane and die. So the real Holtonator for $2 says, gotcha. Delete the black towels first. There you go.
Wow.
Sketch for $2 says, that's cool, but can this helicopter run Doom? That's the $1 million question. Could the president of Iran play Doom on the helicopter as he was flying back? Philip
We'll
Kogan's for
never
another
know.
$10. Thank you, Philip. Our resident pilot says the problem with helis is they can't fly high altitude and they can't really fly in bad weather. Our birds were grounded in Iraq all the time for sandstorms.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
what I
go.
was thinking. If it's blowing around, you're in danger. But if they have that heavy fog, that means it's kind of, I mean, obviously the winds would blow the fog out, right?
Maybe.
You would think, right?
You would think, but
Look,
maybe
he's
not.
talking about sandstorms. That's like heavy wind. Yeah.
Right. That's true. I
That wind
mean,
will blow
listen,
you all over the place.
I don't look where I've been. I don't know. I don't know the science of fogs. Okay. Where I've been, whenever it's been foggy, it's not very windy. So I don't know if you can have high winds and like thick fog at the same time. I don't know how that works, but
Does radar penetrate fog?
yeah, obviously. I assume.
Oh, you think? Okay.
I would imagine. Oh, so it's funny because all the countries, well, all the Iranian aligned countries were essentially sending out their condolences. America had been conspicuously absent, though not surprisingly absent, of sending out condolences to Iran until like an hour ago. The U.S. Department of State has officially sent out their condolences to Iran, saying, quote, on the death of the Iranian president, Raisi, and others in a helicopter crash, the United States expresses its official condolences for the death of the Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Amir Abdullahian, and other members of their delegation in a helicopter crash in northwest Iran. As Iran selects a new president, we reaffirm our support for the Iranian people and their struggle for human rights and fundamental freedoms. How do you feel about that?
I was reading about fog penetrating radar. There is
Okay.
certain radar that can penetrate fog and other radar that cannot.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah. What was that was about the Iranian thing?
That
How
was
do
just do you think that the U.S. State Department should have released any sort of official condolences, or should they just been like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, stick your head
to
in
Iran?
the ground because you're dead?
They should have released a statement. Ha 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 ha. No, look, didn't I? We just got into. Well, we didn't. I think it was Israel that got into a scuffle with
hmm
Iran sent a bunch of drones over to Israel, right? And announced, "Oh, we're sending a bunch of drones over. Please shoot them down so we don't start a war." Like they
Right.
just had that exchange.
That's true.
So I don't. Are we obligated to send our condolences? Like, oh, we're sorry, your president that just released that drone attack on our ally Israel is dead now.
Right. Though the drone attack was super performative, obviously. Like
Yeah.
they're like, here's the location of these drones. Please shoot them down before, they reach your country so we don't start a war.
Look, and the helicopter crash was performative too.
There you go.
Look,
I think
the statement was performative, right?
the State Department they should have done maximum font, the letter F. So it took up the whole
Mhm.
page and just sent it to Iran. Just a big F. Okay. And that was it. I don't think I think it's pretty lame. Like I'm not surprised that the State Department would do this. I think it's lame. I don't think they should have because if if the American president died, do you think Iran would send its condolences? Or do they be
No,
like
there'd
they'd be
be
like the evil president is
celebrations in
dead?
the
Yeah,
street.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think they should have just done nothing. So I think
Ameri-
it's pretty lame.
Americans, I don't think, are celebrating in the street over this. They could care less.
No one cares. I mean, that's
Right.
the thing. No one cares. So. Dog always for $2. Oh, this is a great point. He says, I'm surprised no one blamed DEI yet. LOL. That's true. Listen, that's the problem. We all know they had such
The
big DI
truth.
such big DI programs in Iran that helicopter pilot was probably some diversity hire. That's a good point. So,
Exactly.
right.
Gosh darn female pilots.
That was how amazing they've been like the first ever Iranian helicopter pilot who's female. They're like, finally, we have rights. She crashes the helicopter, the president into the mountain.
That would be amazing.
There you
I'm not
go.
sure women can drive in Iran currently. I mean,
I don't think they could do
were at a
anything.
point, but
Yeah, not anymore. Fog requires a mixing action by wind. Without wind, there's no fog. Well, there you go. I mean, I understand, sure, but I'm saying like if there's like super heavy wind, would there be fog? Like a windstorm that would like blow a helicopter like down, is it gonna be foggy?
yes,
Antelope.
women are legally permitted to drive in Iran. So
Oh, really? I didn't
yeah,
think they were.
so it was
Maybe,
probably a
maybe I'm thinking of
female
Saudi
pilot.
Arabia. I thought there was one of these countries they can't drive. Anyway, Antelope for $2 says radar ain't shit. LiDAR is where it's at. Why would you ever trust LiDAR? You should never trust that. Okay.
Right.
Hentai OG Chitoku 310 for $5 says, hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Can we get Adam to say, quote, making the mother of all omelets here, Jack, can't fret over every egg.
Sure. Let me pull up the super chat. I was trying to figure out can women fly helicopters in Iran? Well, no law in in the Iranian constitution prevents women from becoming pilots. Jandahar admits that many consider it a male profession. Oh, look at that. No DEI pilots in Iran.
There you go.
Who's the super chat?
Hentai OG Teiteku.
Hentai OG.
They should not have named that technology LiDAR. I wouldn't trust anything with the word lie in it for my life. They're like, oh, you want to trust this lying piece of technology to tell you where the mountains are? I'm like, no, can I have the truth bar, please? Thank you.
Actually, I don't want to say that because I don't want to
Why?
say the thing.
Okay, I don't even know what that even is from. But
Yeah, I don't either.
okay.
Well, sometimes people do. I'm a little paranoid to do that because sometimes they make you do these crazy phrases so that you can give people permission to make AI things of your voices. So I don't know if that's like the permission phrase for some AI app, which I mean, you've already said it. So
There you go. Well, I first of all, I trust Hentai OG Teitoku 310 because he's been with us for a while. So I don't think he's trying to
oh,
hack
okay.
into our AI accounts or something. But
Okay.
so. Mike Hassan for $5 says, any reviews of the president of Ukraine canceling the re-election because of the war? Saw news reports his term was supposed to end today. Wasn't I mean they said that they were going to do that, right? Like a while ago. It's not a news story, is it?
The Ukrainian, any reviews of the president of Ukraine canceling the re-election? Like is that happening?
That did happen. It happened last year.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, this is from November 7th, 2023. Ukrainian President Zelensky late Monday ruled out holding a presidential vote in the spring. Oh, I guess it was supposed to happen today,
Right.
and urges countrymen to avoid political divide, saying they must concentrate all resources on fighting Russia.
Yeah, I mean, I am kind of conflicted on that. Didn't we have a I mean, we would not let a war get in the way of us having a presidential election, right?
I
I
assume not,
guess
yeah.
maybe if we had a war on American soil, it might
Like
be
we're being
different.
invaded by Canada or Mexico or
But
something.
didn't we have a presidential election during the Civil War? It seems like we did.
Um, and Lincoln was reelected. I guess so. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have happened because yeah, sure.
So I am, yeah. I think they should power through and have an election. The thing is, Putin is definitely going to try to interfere with that election as much as possible. So that's something that you would have to take into consideration, right?
Right.
Like if it's really impossible for you to hold an election that you knew was not going to be subverted by the party that you're at war with, I mean, you could literally end up electing a Putin crony, right? If
Right.
and you know Putin would be in there trying to make that
Of
happen.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
know. Yeah.
Well, I don't know their cyber capabilities. Putin and Russia took down. I mean, they did like a thing on Ukraine's power grid some time ago. Do you remember where they took down like huge portions of their power grid? Just like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, fuck you.
Right.
So I don't know what kind of shenanigans they could pull during an election, but I would be nervous about that, both as the population and as the leadership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know enough about the like obviously I would prefer they had an election.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know enough about the logistics of the war and the logistics of how they would hold an election and how the actual fighting would interfere with having an election. I don't know what any of that would look like. So I don't really have a strong opinion on it one way or the other. I prefer there be an election. I don't know enough to say, how dare you not have an election? What they should do, I mean, at the very least, is whenever because this is what's going on. Putin is going to hold out. They're going to stall until the U.S. election is over because he's going to roll the dice, hope that or see if Trump gets in, and then hope he can do some kind of deal with Trump, or hope that Trump is more amenable to doing a deal that would give him more preferable terms than Biden. That's obviously what Putin is stalling for. So the war is not going to end until after the election, depending on how that all turns out.
I'm leaning more towards Zahan's belief that Putin is not going to stop at Ukraine. I think there is some credibility to the argument that he's really going to try to take Kiev and then move on to another nation. That he's
Hmm.
trying to put back together the old Soviet Union.
Which nation? I mean, I guess he could do is, was it? There's that, it's in Moldova, right? There's that
Yeah,
place in Moldova that's Transnistria or whatever. Or is that what it's called?
right.
That is like trying to claim that they're part of Russia or whatever. And they're on the border of Ukraine and Moldova. I mean, that could theoretically happen. I'm not sure. I don't know what their military would look like. When even like let's say like theoretically, okay. Let's say that, the US election is ended, Russia makes some sort of a well, you here's the thing. Under that theory, Russia would not agree to a truce at any level, right? Because you're saying that they would want to take over the entire country. Like they take Kyiv,
Yes.
right?
Well,
Hmm.
they see Ukraine as a state of the Russian Empire in the same way that we see Florida as a state of the American Empire.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Unless the only way I think that that's going to happen is if the US says that we're just not sending them any more weapons. Because if
Right.
we keep sending them weapons, Russia's not going to be able to advance to take over all of Ukraine. They're just going to be stuck in a stalemate forever. Or they're going to try to just, I guess what Zahan is saying is that he thinks that they're just going to basically try to bleed Ukraine to death for years, right? Until they run out of people. Is that, I think that was his argument, which I
Right.
guess is theoretically possible, um, which would be horrific if that's the case. But
There's Belarus, there's Lithuania, there's Estonia, there's Latvia, there's Moldova
isn't Estonia in NAFTA?
in NATO.
I'm sorry, NATO. I said NAFTA. In NATO. Yeah. Yeah, they're in NATO. They've
I
been in
believe
NATO
so.
since
Yeah. Look.
2004. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to invade a NATO country. That'd be real stupid. So
We'll see.
if they can take over Ukraine, which I think is I don't think that'd happen anytime soon because I think you just basically have to just fight them for years and years, essentially. And then if they can eventually ever win that conflict, yeah, maybe they'll take Transnistria, but I don't think they're going to go to a NATO country.
Yeah, I pulled up a
I don't
map
know if
of the
Russia's going to
Soviet
be
Union, the
yeah,
old
but
Soviet Union.
I don't think Russia's in a position. I don't know if Russia's actually benefiting from this. I don't believe they are. I don't think they're not benefiting from it economically. Russia's becoming more indebted to China, which they're kind of like friendly-ish with, but they don't want to be China's slave. They're becoming more and more indebted to China every day that the war continues. Just as like we're supporting Ukraine financially, China's basically propping up Russia at this point.
Right.
And so like to continue taking over shit, assuming like, would first of all, would China even want that? And why would like what is I don't know if Russia gains anything from doing that. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I'm skeptical.
There's all
I think
these
what's gonna
other
happen,
countries south too. As I mean, Kazakhstan, is that a independent nation now? Uzbek is, right?
yeah,
Turkmen is.
yeah.
A lot of options here.
Kazakhstan,
Yeah.
that's where Borat is from.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, my guess, this would be my prediction here, is that after the next presidential election, Russia is going to make some sort of agreement with Ukraine where they're going to get the contested Donbass region and that's it.
My prediction is that whoever wins the election is not going to make a deal with Putin. There will be no deal. And that Putin is going to continue until he takes the entirety of Ukraine.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Well, that's good, right? We're at completely
There you
different
go.
positions, right?
There, I like it. I
It's
like
more
it.
interesting.
It is more interesting that way. That's true.
And then he's going to invade Lithuania.
Oh, that's number two. Okay. Lithuania,
I took the map down, so I don't even know if. Oh, yeah, Lithuania is one of the nations at
huh?
stake here.
Well, yeah, but he has to
And
go
then
to a
he's
different
going to
country
invade.
to get to Lithuania.
Look, Belarus is already basically a vassal state of Russia, right?
Sure.
Belarus is where the Belarusian president was supposed to negotiate with Putin's chef, and he was supposed to get Putin's chef out of hot water, right? And they're like, look, we're just going to fly you off to Belarus where you can live in exile. And
And he
mysteriously,
got
the
blown
plane
up.
never got there. Yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
plane mysteriously got blown up. Yeah.
So Belarus is already basically a vassal state. And I don't know the political machinations of Belarus. I don't know if
Hmm.
they're on the same trek that the Ukrainians were on. They're like, look, we want to be an independent nation. We don't want
Well,
to
I
be
mean,
part
not
of
currently.
right. But are there, obviously the press started covering Ukraine when there were Western leaders that were challenging some of the Soviet puppets that were in
Right.
place. Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know if there are people who are more amicable towards Western alliances in the pushing up through the ranks in Belarus, or if they're
Right.
just killing them all, right?
Right.
So they have zero opposition. Like that's a position that Putin would like to be in Ukraine. Like he He'd just like to kill Zelensky. They're probably working on assassinating Zelensky constantly.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's
I'm sure they
another
are.
thing that would complicate a presidential election. Like how exactly do you campaign?
When all
And
these people are trying to kill you? Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
and
good point. Yeah.
who's going up against you? Like if Russia starts assassinating the people they don't like going up against Zelensky, I mean it's got to be a massive security threat to protect Zelensky, a massive, security ordeal to protect Zelensky. You're going to also protect a bunch of candidates that are probably just easy targets for Russian operatives. That's a tough. That's
It is.
tough. Yeah, complicated situation.
So, well, I do like your theory that Putin's going to be like, listen, we need some lithium. Where can we get this?
We need Lithuania,
Lithuania, right? It's named after it. There's got to have lithium there, right?
of
Even though I
course.
like that theory, and he'd have to go through Belarus. Lithuania is part of NATO as well.
Right.
So
I think, and I think even like Finland was trying to join.
Finland joined recently after the
Yeah.
war. Yeah.
Look, and Finland was never even really part of the Soviet Union, according to this map. This is Soviet
Right.
Union Administration Divisions 1989 that I'm looking at.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Finland's part of NATO now, so
Right. Yeah, they're
okay.
like, not coming for us.
Hmm.
Russian Soviet Federation, Socialist Republic. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, all the countries on Russia's border, except for Ukraine and Belarus and Georgia and Azerbaijan, are in NATO. So doesn't have a lot of space to maneuver. Okay. Seller for $5 says there was a super chat I left at the tail end of the TikTok ban passes stream, but it ended before you saw it. If not, that's okay.
Yeah, there was one that went through last time we were streaming.
TikTok ban. Wasn't that a while ago?
Not sure.
I mean, think I saw it. We see it if it comes in right at the end. I don't know if I can go back and find it. That was too long
I'll
ago.
look for it. I'll look for it.
Okay.
You can go ahead and read.
Okay, if we can find it. Old School for $20 says, thank you so much. Says Sitch, I got a report last week on the damage the anti-Israel protesters did when they occupied Miller Library at Portland State. Guess how much it was for? It was
How
for
much?
$1 million. And they
Oh, wow.
damaged and stole the library's archival Dark Horse comics collection. Wow.
What?
See, that's how you know that these protesters really care about the cause, okay? They're like,
They've
we need
gone
to
too far.
steal all the graphic novels from the library, right? That's the real way to stick it to, the Israelis. To really support the Palestinian cause is you have to break into a library, cause $1 million of damage, and then steal the graphic novels, right? That's obviously what you do. That's the maneuver, right? To really have support. Maybe they're going to they're going to send those graphic novels to the poor people suffering in Gaza, right? You know how Hassan had that Houthi pirate on, who he now claims is not a Houthi pirate because he was so embarrassed about that interview?
I do remember that. Yeah.
And they spent the whole interview talking about how much he liked the Houthi guy liked One Piece. And some Hassan fan saw that and said, if the Houthi pirates like One Piece, I bet, the Hamas also likes graphic novels. So they took a bunch of graphic novels and they're gonna send them to Hamas. That's my headcanon for that scenario, right? That makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Look, the TikTok ban was forever ago. So
That's why that's why I
I'm like,
say.
Jesus.
I said it was a long time ago, saw it,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I can
We're
find
going to
it.
have to let that one go.
Yeah. I did see it though. I don't remember what you said, but I remember seeing it. Though, see, this is how you know that the whole anniversary thing is broken. Because it said that super chat Saul just sent us is his first ever one. Do you see that? And
Hilarious.
obviously Saul sent us a bunch. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it makes any sense.
Does it really say that?
It does.
For the $50? Sola just sent a $50 super chat, which thank you.
Oh,
That's
thank you,
awesome.
Solo. There you
Yeah.
go. But no, it was the $5 one. He said that we missed his other super chat. This is
Oh,
saying that
really?
this is his first ever super chat, which is pretty funny. But
Okay. That's Sulla. Sulla. Look, I'm going back. I'm, if you're going to send us a $50 super chat, okay, I'm going to continue to
you gonna
scroll
find
back
it?
to the.
Okay, you find it. Uh, it's probably easier to find instead of going through the super chat. I don't know how you're looking for it. To just find the TikTok video and just look it up and see if it actually shows up on screen. It might not because it might have been after we ended it, but it might show up on screen on the side at the very
Hell
end.
no, I'm not. That seems impossible.
That
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, I see. No, because we ended the stream. It wouldn't have showed up in the
it might
video.
not show
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I don't know.
Look, and if you go back far enough, it's like it stops giving you a picture of what the stream is. So it makes it like impossible to see
Yeah, yeah,
what the TikTok one was.
right.
Yeah. So sorry, I think we're gonna have to
Oh, it might be lost.
I am abandoning my pledge to never say I'm sorry on the internet, to tell you I'm sorry we haven't found your
Wow.
super chat. Yeah.
Sulla for $50. Thanks so much, Sulla. For $52. Thank you so much. Says, first year I got second place in my troop. Second year I got first place. Then second in regionals. My dad polished the wheels, which wasn't cheating. He made them, but I came up with the theme for both and sanded them. We did separate aesthetics awards. It went so fast it knocked out the barrier. Well, look at that.
Your
Look
dad
at that.
polished the wheels so that they were
Interesting.
super
Slippery?
slippery. Yeah.
Wow. I never thought of polishing the wheels. Well, there you
Well, I
go.
guess if you're to get as much speed on that downhill, like the traction could slow you down. Just slide down. You
Yeah,
basically sled
exactly.
down the thing.
Listen, I should have put some like lard or grease. I should put some olive oil on the wheels, right? So it
No,
just
I
slips right
think it
down. No?
might stick.
Oh, you're
Polishing
right. Yeah,
seems
it's too
like a good.
sticky.
You just basically turn it into a sled.
No, listen, yeah, you should put what is it called?
Put
The
some glue on those wheels
some
and
KY
polish them up.
jelly. Put some KY jelly on the wheels. Could you imagine like you hand your little car to the adult and they're like, "Oh, why is this all like sticky and gross?"
Put it on the track.
You put on the track, it like slides down super fast. The whole track is just covered with like KY jelly and lube. People are like, "Oh, what does that smell? Why does it smell familiar?"
That's horrible.
Oh,
So Solo for another $2 says it went so fast it knocked out the barrier.
right. That is the
Wow.
barrier for the car. It's not the sound barrier. Yeah,
You don't know.
there you go.
Can you
Okay,
imagine a little sonic boom?
that would have been pretty amazing. That's what happened in the South Park episode.
Look at this. The Empowered Man podcast. Look, are you is it
Hmm?
if you're on a podcast, you should just come on our podcast. Empowered Man. You're as in you
Like
are.
possessive instead of you apostrophe
Yeah.
R. Yeah,
You're both apologists for the Zionist criminals.
it's
Well, I
true,
mean, look, I do
but
support Zionists, so
that is true. I do support Israel's right to exist. I listen. I believe the Zionist criminal is probably a better grammar, so I'm on that team. I need all the grammar help I can get. Okay, Adam can attest. My grammar's not the best.
yeah. Look, we have a official proofreader for the comic. Neither
Right.
one, neither Sitch nor I are the best when it comes to spelling and grammar. But I do
Exactly.
know. Look, and this is an innocent mistake. We've all made this mistake where you really mean you are
Right.
your as
That's true.
possess or the
Not possessive as a
contraction. Yeah,
contraction.
not the possessive. Yeah.
Right.
So this happens. I'm sure empowered man podcast. If he wasn't so anxious to call us Zionist shills,
Uh-huh.
would have thought, okay, well, I need to put the apostrophe in there though. But
Right, right.
yeah,
English at Ox for $2 says it's Zyhan, damn it. Oh,
oh
did you say
yeah, Peter
Zahan?
Zion.
Peter
Yeah,
Zohan?
Peter Zion gets a lot of stuff wrong in the economics realm, just like
Right.
laughably wrong. But I think, he pitches himself as being an expert in kind of everything, but you can't really be an expert in everything, right?
Right.
Yeah. He has a neoclassical economist view of monetary and fiscal policy that just
Yeah, that's like everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's basically just
Essentially.
status quo. Yeah.
Yeah. There was, oh my God. We might watch some clips from it because it's so horrible. That Tim Pool had Pearl and
Oh
Lauren
yeah, I
Chen
saw that.
and
I was like,
someone
oh my
else on.
god, and we aren't
And
streaming on Sunday, but
oh my God, it was so awful.
this is like perfect.
It was
It's like
like,
on
it was,
Trad Wives, right?
yes, it was like brain rot in podcast form. I've never heard anything so horrible in my life. Jesus.
Is Tim Pool looking for a trad wife? Is that what's really going on here?
I I think this is my theory. Tim Pool is looking for a girl that will be his common law wife, but will never marry him because he's too paranoid about getting married.
Well, look, I'm sure he throws a prenup on her that's like, as tall as a stack of
I
Bibles.
don't think I don't think he'll ever get married. It's my
Right.
he's so anti-marriage. I just can't imagine it. So, but oh my God, that episode was like there was some part of it, I don't know if you heard, that would have made you lose your mind where they were all of them, including Tim, none of them are in favor of the right to vote.
What?
They're all, yeah, they all want to have like conditional voting based
Oh my
on
God.
like how much money you make or how much property you own or
Make it
something.
stop. Make it
Like,
stop.
yeah, none of them are in favor of just like a citizen's right to vote. It was pretty fucking insane. I was like, oh my God. You know, terrible.
The elitism.
Tim has a girlfriend. Well, there you go. I don't think they're ever gonna get married though. So they'll just stay forever in that situation, which, good for him, I guess.
The ironic thing is democracy is a force for decentralization. And if we wanted to talk to them about how dangerous centralizing power is, like all of the libertarian stuff would come out, right? They totally agree with everything we're saying.
Hmm.
But as soon as you're like, yeah, you're kind of centralizing power with the wealthy with your plan of nobody voting unless they're property owners, right? Well,
Right.
that's okay. That's a type of centralizing power that they can agree with.
Well, that's what's so weird when I'm like, I don't know how, like, I can understand that like Pearl and Lauren Chen and some of these other people are like really down on women voting and really want to have all this like wacky voting rules. But Tim, I'm like, wait a minute. Tim is talking about how he's afraid of like the deep state and all the elites like doing all this bad shit. And I'm like, you understand that this form of voting, you're just literally handing the country over to the most elite people,
Of
right? Like
course. Yeah.
it's just weird. So it's so weird to me when I hear these people that are so concerned with the elites taking control away from the people, and then they're like, "Listen, we want to limit voting to just the elites," and I'm like, all right, like, what's going on here, my dudes? Like, come on, what's happening?" So
Yeah.
very interesting,
Capitalism is also a decentralizing force. So,
right?
so they would argue they just want the free market to take care of, and that's enough of a decentralizing force. But is it? I do feel like Pareto principle and the Matthew effect and all that, the rich getting richer.
Of course,
Whoever can vote structures society so the costs are shifted onto others that
of
can't
course,
vote, who
yeah,
can't make the decisions.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's just
That's
human nature. That's natural.
right. If all you kids voted, if all these kids voted, okay, let me tell you something. College would be much cheaper and housing prices would be much better because the politicians would have to uh, do what the voting base wants,
Yeah.
but they
It's
don't.
hilarious that they
Yeah.
restructure the bankruptcy laws so anyone could write anything off except for student debt. It's like, well, oh, I see.
You're exactly.
Fuck the students, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why is it? Why did that happen,
Because
Sid?
these dumb kids don't come out and vote. That's
Exactly.
why. That's the
Because there's
problem.
absolutely no political downside. They're like, look, hmm, the banks who write me big campaign contributions and there's absolutely no political downside for screwing over students. Oh, okay.
Perfect.
The banks win.
Right. And then that's why you have Biden now trying to literally buy the kids'
Oh,
votes
yeah.
by saying,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to forgive your debt now. Yeah.
He's begging them. Please
I need you.
come vote for me.
And
You
they're
did
all like,
last
listen.
time.
They're like, listen, we all really, really care about Israel and Palestine because we were told to care by TikTok videos. So no, we're not
That's
gonna we're not gonna vote for you. Even if you even if you give me 50 grand or more back, I'm still not going to vote for you because, Son Piker
Principles.
told me not to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm
Sweet.
sorry. Current for 18 months says, think you might have missed my $10 chat from earlier, or I just skipped past it like a silly boy. It was a one about Costello. No, I did miss it. Thank you. So sorry about that. Actually, I missed a couple. I missed Real Holsteiner for $2 says I got some mileage out of that chat. LOL. Well, thank you, Real Holsteiner. That was true. And Kerm for $10 says, do you have thoughts on the Costello testimony to the House trashing Cohen? That and the whole phone call where Cohen was supposedly closing the Daniels payment, instead being him dealing with a 14-year-old kid. So I did not listen to his testimony. Um, so I don't know what he said regarding trashing Cohen. And I'm not familiar with the phone call, so I'll have to check that out. The him dealing with a 14-year-old kid. I'll have to check both those out. I mean,
You're
I had
going into
no.
full whisper mode. Like I keep like adjusting your volume over and
I
over.
don't. I mean, I nothing. I don't
Put
understand. I
your
haven't
mic right
changed.
here.
My mic is right in front of my face. I haven't changed zero quality. I've changed nothing with the mic setup. It's literally exactly the same. I don't know why you're having problems with it, but
Because you
um,
trail off and talk real
I always do
mumbly
that
under
though.
your breath. And
Okay.
no one can hear what you're saying.
Okay. Thank you. Michael Cohen,
Radio voice.
14-year-olds.
Use your outside voice.
Did a 14-year-old prank caller just blow up Michael Cohen's testimony? Michael Cohen was bombarded with prank phone calls on October 2016. The same month, he was urgently arranging a deal to buy Stormy Daniels' silence. On October 24th, 2016, the prank caller forgot to hide their number, and Cohen sent them a message. This number has just been sent to Secret Service for your ongoing continuous harassment to both my cell as well as the organization's main line. I didn't do it. The prankster replied in all caps. I'm 14. Please don't do this. What? That night, Donald Trump's fixer called his boss's bodyguard and then texted him the alleged 14-year-old prankster's phone number to deal with it. That's hilarious. The moment drawn out by the defense attorney um, intended to undercut Cohen's prior testimony about the call to Mr. Trump's body man, Keith Schiller. Interesting. That is pretty funny, though. Huh. I don't see how that has anything to do with. I don't see how that would defend against a Stormy Daniels claim, though. Michael Cohen is the only witness who can link directly Mr. Trump to a scheme to buy Ms. Daniels' silence, as well as Mr. Trump's approval of the plan to reimburse Cohen after he paid her. So that's why they're trying to say that he's not trustworthy, obviously. So Cohen's text exchange with the prank caller took place between 7:10 and 7:24 on October 24th. He texted Mr. Schiller at 7:48 p.m. and then spoke on the phone around 8 p.m. So it was all one day. So it looked like this only happened on one day. Cohen, who remained calm and unfazed while defense attorneys screamed accusations that Cohen was lying to jurors, explained he believed he spoke to Mr. Trump and Mr. Schiller about both the prank call and the hush money. So he's saying he had a phone call where it was both about the prank and the hush money. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah,
Anything
blah.
doesn't
Blah,
look
blah,
that interesting.
blah.
Well, that's a funny little wrinkle, but I'm not sure it changes much. So, but interesting to know. Okay, where was I? Where was I?
It's funny.
Uh,
Our live streams turn into more interacting with the fans
that's
over.
good. That's what people like, right?
Of course. Yeah. Look,
That's what the people want. Wolf Spain for $2 says Adam. That quote from earlier was from Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear. Well, there you go.
oh, it is? Okay. Well, I'll say it then.
Okay.
Can you confirm, Sitch? Am
I
I
can
being
confirm
gaslit
it.
here?
It is in fact from Metal Gear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It was from Hentai OG if
Okay.
you're looking up.
I am. I'm searching. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
Here it is. Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
There you go. That's a good way of saying like I'm doing something horrible and a bunch of people are going to die, but it's all worth it.
I
Right?
like
It's all
it.
worth it
Yeah.
for the cause.
Look, in all honesty, I was dying to say it.
I thought you were just messing. I didn't think you actually thought it was some kind of like secret code.
You didn't think I did? Oh,
I thought you were
really?
just joking and just didn't want to read it. But okay, that's
It's a pretty
fine.
badass little saying, right?
It is. It's a good line. It's a good
Making the
line.
mother of all omelets here, Jack.
I started watching the anime Doctor Stone recently,
Mm-hmm.
which is about a green light like explodes across the world and turns every person into stone. They all become stone statues.
Wow.
And then the main character, who's a high school kid, manages to break out of the statue 3,700 years in the future. And everything, like all technology is lost, like everything's taken over by nature. But he's like a super intelligent genius that knows like everything about science. So it's all about him trying to like rebuild society with science, knowing all scientific. It's kind of interesting. It's like basically someone with complete modern science information kind of trying to rebuild technology when there's like nothing. But they know how to do everything. There's just nothing there. And so that's kind of the
Yeah.
plot. And the the villain, who is someone else he revived because he figured out a way to like a chemical to unpetrify people, is I like this. The villain is just an anarchical communist or an anarcho-communist. So,
Typical villains, right?
yep. I'm actually kind of surprised. I haven't heard any of the woke people. I guess they don't really complain about anime because they know it's a waste of time. But yeah, the big bad guy in Doctor Stone is a communist. He's like, because the main character wants to revive everyone to just try to bring back society to the way it was, and the bad guy's like, no, all the greedy old people with all their money are going to take all our resources and lands. We need to be free forever. I'm like, oh, he's a communist. Okay.
Is the money still good? I mean, it's been a long time,
There's no
right?
money. There's nothing. I mean, yeah. He's just
The
saying that they'll
monetary, he's
if
like, they're going to revive their bank account.
yeah, it's kind of a ludicrous. I mean, he's a horrible person. Like it is kind of insane that you're like, oh, it's 3,700 years in the future, and he's like, oh, let me go like start a war and try to like kill people, as opposed to working together to rebuild society. You're like, okay, thank you. So
Yeah. They got to cram their message into it.
of course, but no, it's pretty good so far. I like it. So you guys might like it. It's on Netflix, so you can check it out.
What's it called?
Doctor Stone.
Dr. Stone. I'll check it out.
It's
And it's
very
anime?
sciency. It's always like, talking about like the chemicals that do this. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, you won't like it. But if you
But
like
I love that
science, you will
stuff.
like it. Yeah. Okay. Red Toa for $10 says, gentlemen, I think it's time we stop referring to the campus protesters as kids. If they're in college, then they're adults. And we should stop infantilizing them more than they already are. I mean, that's a fair point. That's definitely a
I
fair
mean, I've
point.
been calling them terrorists, so
That's true. Call them young adult terrorists.
call them campus terrorists.
There it is. Brian for $10 says Russia will benefit from it if their thinking comes true. They believe Europe will soon forget about this conflict in the future and go back to trading with the now more powerful Russia. I mean, if Putin honestly thinks that, that's kind of retarded. I think there's I think the only way that Europe would go back to normal trade relations with Russia is if some disaster happens in Europe, which is possible, I guess, but that Europe is just so desperate for oil or whatever the fuck they need from Russia. Otherwise the relationship I don't think will ever go back to normal, at least in the next, for this generation. Obviously, 20 years from now, everything could change, but in the near future, there's no possible way of relations going back to normal.
Yeah, it's going to be
Uh,
tough. It's definitely polarizing the world into Western factions. And I
yeah.
mean, they're reviving the Cold War here.
They are. They are. And I mean, I could 100% believe that Putin is so delusional that he'd think that because he was so delusional that they thought that they could invade Ukraine and just take it over and no one would care. And obviously that turned out to be 100% not true, which everyone in the West was like, no, it's obviously not true, right? So, this is part of the big problem that you have when you have these dictators. It's kind of the same problem with Xi in China. They become so insulated with yes people and people that are corrupt that whatever information they're getting about the rest of the world is probably not good information. So he could hunt. So I could believe that Putin is being fed from like really bad advisors that like, oh yeah, Europe is just going to totally not care in a couple of years when that's not remotely true. So
We had the same problem in Iraq, though. the exact same problem with a completely different political system.
Hmm.
We had all the senior officials in the Bush administration were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a cakewalk. We'll be welcome as liberators. We're going to be in there for like 3 weeks.
Right.
We're going to
Yeah.
install the democracy. Going to have the
Yep.
McDonald's being built, by 6 months in." It's like,
Well, I don't think in Iraq it would have been that clean, but I do think if we had better leadership that wasn't retarded, okay? If we had not George Bush in charge, we had someone competent, whether they're Democrat or Republican, if we had someone competent that would have forced the Sunnis and Shiites to basically work together and to promise protections and representation in the government, I do think it's possible that that situation could have actually worked out significantly better than it did.
right.
So, Blaine's Escape Corner for $5 says behind, but our Awana Pinewood Derby always had fastest and best design by kids vote. My only win was a slug, big round heavy front. My mother still has it. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. So they did
Yeah, I don't
adopt
know why we didn't do that.
that policy.
Pretty sure. Yeah, we never had a kids vote. That would have been awesome. Jack H for 16 months says, would you guys be for or against open borders with Canada so you could road trip to Alaska without a passport? I'm Canadian, by the way. I would say no. I mean, first, like, is having a passport really? Well, I know getting a passport can be obnoxious in America anyway, because it takes a while, so you can't like rush it necessarily.
But I mean, could you do it with a Canadian driver's license? I mean, I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable with no sort of identification, but I don't think you need a passport to go into Mexico. Like a
They
lot of
do.
times you just show your driver's license.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look,
Hmm.
people in Southern California would go to Tijuana all the time, and look, none of those people had passports. Come on.
I don't know. Like,
You just throw
my
your
concern
California
would be
ID.
right. I don't know about that. My concern would be like, yeah, you need to have a passport or driver's license. You need something. I don't think we should just have let people like drive back and forth between Canada and America because if you allowed that, my concern isn't that those evil, sneaky Canadians would sneak in, though they obviously would because, we're the superior country and they all want to be American. But my concern would just be that there would be immigrants would just start going to Canada via boat or some way and then just get into America that way. If there
Yeah,
was like
that's why I'm
literally
saying you'd
no
have to have some
right,
Canadian ID.
right. So yeah, I'm not in favor of that.
Right. They'll
You
let
need a
American
passport
citizens
now?
pass into. They don't care about that in Mexico. They're like, yeah, come spend money in Tijuana. Definitely.
Right. Let's Equal Docs for $5 says check out Freerin Next, one of my recent faves. I'm not generally into anime anymore, but this one rises above the typical anime trappings. All right, that's the one with the elf chick, right? With the big penis ears that Adams likes so much. So,
Oh, yeah. What's the name of it?
Freerin, Frien.
Rearin? I'll check it out.
Freerin. JMac for $20 says, I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon and it's been a lot of fun. Just started Demon Slayer with my daughter and now it's her favorite. Although I think any new anime I show her becomes her new favorite. That happens.
It
That's cute
does.
though. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people praising Delicious in Dungeon. So I might check that out at some point. And I know I've never seen Demon Slayer, but I know it's a classic. PLO to PL for 4 months says, it seems the defense in Trump's case are saying with Trump's busy with the campaign, Cohen cooked up the payment scheme to be able to pocket some money. Um,
That's a good angle.
well, it could be, but it could also not. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a good angle because wouldn't like let's just say theoretically, okay? Theoretically, Michael Cohen makes up this entire thing about paying off Stormy Daniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he lies to Trump about it, or he convinces Stormy Daniel to participate in the scheme, right? Either way, and then he tells Trump about it. Even if Michael Cohen did that, Trump would still be found guilty of lying on the business records. So I don't know how that would actually help Trump defend against the legal claim at all.
Right. But
Like maybe with the
if
jury, they just hope that like, oh, well, he's lying, so therefore Trump is innocent. Like maybe that's the thought, but from like a strict legal perspective, I don't know how that actually helped Trump at all.
right, it doesn't help him on the Stormy claim, but it does help him in the my lawyer was taking advantage of me and he's the bad guy and I'm the good guy
That's what I'm saying.
claim.
It'd be like an emotional appeal, but Trump would have still broken the law, even if that was true. And Cohen made the whole thing up or concocted the scheme of Stormy. Anyway,
Right.
so
Let's watch this video.
what video?
Uh, are you proud of
Oh, okay. We'll
Hamas?
watch. We're almost there.
Okay.
Um, Daniel Sank for 12 months. Thanks so much. Says 1 year being a proud A team member. Such is okay. Oh, you guys have had Rudyard on, but you haven't analyzed any of his content or react to his manifesto.
We did cover him when he debated Vosh. That was when we first covered Rudyard.
Right.
So, and how we became, friends slash colleagues, content creator colleagues. So,
Yeah, but we never like watched his video and did a frame by frame analysis for two reasons. Number one, that would be a lot of research for me to
oh
do.
yeah, look, he packs a bunch of stuff into his videos. So
Right,
yeah,
right. And then number two, I feel like we kind of do analyze his content whenever we talk to him because then we always argue about whatever he's talking about. So,
yeah, and it's more fun that way. Just have interactive back and forth. So
right.
we might. I mean, if he's going to debate some people, I mean, we'll probably if he debates Destiny on anything, I'm sure we'll probably cover that.
Oh yeah, he's challenged Destiny, Vosh, Hassan, I think, Nick
And Nick
Fuentes,
Fuentes,
and there was someone else.
Sneeko.
And Sneeko, right, to debates.
Look,
And
if
yeah,
he destroys Sneeko, we're definitely covering that because
well,
that's got
if
to
he
be
debates any of those
hilarious.
people, we'll definitely cover it. I'm skeptical, and I think Andrew Tate maybe too. I don't remember if he challenged him to debate, but I think the only person on that list that would probably accept the debate is Destiny and maybe Nick Fuentes. So we'll definitely cover those if they go
Agree.
through. Yeah. Danny and then Danny backwards for $10 says, bit behind. I have a friend who stole a bunch of manga from the middle school library. He only got caught because I saw he had a missing book I wanted to read. He had over 20 in his tiny book bag. Look at that. People stealing manga from anime. How dare they? That's for everyone to read. Okay.
Very bad.
Terrible. Soldoge for $2 says, Sitch, Putin has not been on the defensive these past few weeks. He's been on the offensive. They just recently made an attack to Ukraine's northern flank, so your prediction isn't quite accurate. Well, no, my prediction is not that they're going to sit around picking their nose. My prediction is that they're basically going to be stuck in a relative stalemate until, until either A, Russia wins, or B, the election happens and Putin's going to try to see if he can get a better deal. And if he can't get a better deal, he might just keep doing what they're doing indefinitely. That's definitely possible.
Yeah, but he's saying they're not currently in a stalemate, that they're pushing forward, which that's what I heard too.
No,
That
though I understand that, but well, that could be true, but I don't foresee in the near future that Russia's going to sweep over all of Ukraine. Doesn't seem to be the situation, even if they're making progress. So,
okay.
also didn't Ukraine just sink one of their another large uh carrier that Russia has? That was important.
You watch the Spare Parts Army? What's that
Yes.
guy's name? You
Dr.
watch his
Diller for
videos?
$2 says, you think you can escape my super chats? No. How's lifting that you're definitely doing going, Sitch? Look at this. My own S-class general calling me out. Can you believe it? It's going wonderful, Dr. Diddler. I've gained another 100 pounds in just pure muscle mass. All right.
Look at that
Believe it.
insolence. You gotta
Yeah.
nip that in the bud. Jeez.
Wow. Oh, look at the authoritarian here. Okay. I thought everyone was the equal in A team.
Yeah, because we don't have people getting out of line.
Oh, I see.
Everyone's
I see.
cool in A team.
Right.
No one's rocking the boat.
Hmm. Okay, let's watch this video. This is from the London Broadcasting Company. There was a Palestinian student in London who's facing deportation over their remarks they made about October 7th. Okay.
All right.
Dana Aquamar, 19, was filmed at a protest one day after October 7th, describing how she was full of joy and proud that the Palestinian resistance has come to this point. In
And
the Manchester University where she goes, since has had her visa revoked, with the Home Office citing reasons of public safety. So, but she claims that her words were taken out of context. All right.
ooh, interesting.
So
Okay.
she's calling in this woman who said October 7th filled her with joy to sort of explain the context. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Why a bunch of innocent people being murdered filled her with joy, right? The
Right.
context of that is going to be articulated here. It's going to be
Yes.
made crystal clear.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
let's see what her what her rationale is
Okay.
for these comments.
Can't
Okay.
wait.
Um, so what have the
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What
How are you
have-
doing?
I'm very well. What have the Home Office said to you about why they're cancelling your visa?
Before I answer your question, actually, Tom, I would like to clarify that is not actually what I said. Have you watched the interview that I did
I have.
with Kanye?
Yeah, I've played it out.
Can you quote to me what exactly I did say?
We are full of pride. We are really, really full of joy at what has happened. We are proud that Palestinian resistance has come to this point.
Mm-hmm. And do I?
I mean, I don't know if I use Sitch, but I don't know. How do you backpedal on that kind of context?
Yeah, I'm very super dying to know what is the correct context for that statement. Okay.
I know exactly. Mate, you were on LSD. You were drunk at a party. What is the context here?
I mentioned Hamas at any point in that interview.
Well, what are you full of joy at that point?
My question is clear. Do I mention Hamas at any point?
You are asked about Hamas. You don't mention them by name.
Exactly. So I do not mention Hamas. I do not mention that I condone killing of any innocent civilians. My words were completely taken out of context.
Well, let's go back to what your words are.
No logical person can conclude that I was supporting harm to any innocent civilians based on the context that was given throughout this demonstration. Let me explain it to you, Tom. There was no explicit mention of Hamas or support for Hamas or harm to any innocent civilians. Whether there was any implicit mention is also not the case. So the protest was advertised in a manner that showed support for Palestinian resistance breaking through the siege. The protest itself was full of chants and speeches that again were supporting Palestinians breaking through the siege, with no mention of Hamas, with no symbols referring to Hamas whatsoever. The coverage itself at that point, when I was doing the interview with Sky News, did not show anything related to Hamas.
So when you're there...
Okay. So listen, she didn't explicitly say that Hamas is what filled her with joy, right?
Yeah, look, I'm not buying it.
Right? No, listen, it makes sense, okay? She's like, when I said that the words proud that Palestinian resistance had come to this point after October 7th, I didn't mean Hamas, right? That's not what I meant. I meant the other Palestinian resistance, okay?
Yeah, what was the other Palestinian resistance? Just refresh my memory.
It was, I don't know if you know, like this was going on in Manchester. There was like a big conflict because there was a falafel stand that some of the Palestinian students like really wanted implemented on the quad. And the evil Zionist students, they were like, no, this is our falafel stand. And they started settling the falafel stand by just slowly encroaching and moving in, Israeli students to run the falafel stand instead.
It's terrifying how quickly Sitch shifts into gaslighting mode. It really is, because all this was over a falafel stand.
It's all just a big misunderstanding. Okay. She was talking about the falafel stand drama, all right, which coincidentally all came to a head on October 7th when the Palestinian students finally, quote, resisted by striking back by forcibly, taking back the falafel stand and making the Israeli students, vacate the premise.
They got their
Right.
freedom falafels, right?
Yeah. Now they did force the Israeli students to leave the premise by taking the Israeli students' parents hostage. But, compared to October 7th, I guess that was a lesser thing to be in favor of.
Right.
Right.
And just to be clear, none of that was true, right?
What? Everything I just said is true. What do you mean? It's completely true. It's 100% true.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let's see.
This rally on the days after, the immediate days after October the 7th, and you say, we are full of pride. What are you full of pride about?
The breaking of the siege on Gaza, which was placed on Gaza illegally for over 16 years.
And how did the breaking of the siege happen?
It was not only by Hamas. It was by multiple armed groups. It was by civilians and children as well who were resisting against the occupation.
So, okay, listen. When she was supporting, okay, maybe I did make up that whole thing about the falafel, all right? That could have all just been made up. What she's actually saying is that, listen, I didn't support Hamas on October 7th. I support all those other people that went across the border and killed and raped and kidnapped people that weren't associated with Hamas. That's who I was supporting. What's wrong with that?
Well, there were independent parties that got involved that weren't Hamas, but
yes.
I mean,
why does that make it better?
I know they're still murdering civilians.
Yeah.
So it's basically some other Palestinians joined in the mayhem, and she's like, "Oh, those are the people." Yeah, look, not working. Not working at all. Yeah.
Okay.
PIJ, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, for example, they're another group that operate in Gaza, not them. So when you say
I was not referring to a specific group.
Sorry, Donna, let me ask the question, please. It's my program. We are.
Ooh, sit down.
Ooh.
Sit down.
Oh my God.
Look, you little terrorist supporter. I invited you on here to answer questions. You're going to answer some goddamn questions.
Right.
Proud that Palestinian resistance has come to this point. You're not referring to Hamas.
No, I'm not.
But they form Palestinian resistance, don't they?
No. Palestinian resistance in itself is an action, Tom. Right? Resistance.
So what were Hamas doing on October the 7th?
With international law.
So what were Hamas doing on October the 7th, in your view?
It does not concern me what Hamas was doing. I was referring to Palestinian resistance. I was referring to resistance that is consistent with international law and the specific act of breaking through the siege, which is consistent with international law.
Well,
I was not referring to any group.
Were people to have just broken?
Listen, I'm not one of these, UN, IE, sometimes YOU, affiliates that knows about international law, right? So maybe I'm mistaken, Adam, but I'm just guessing. I'm gonna use my gut here. Okay, I'm gonna guess that going across the border and intentionally killing civilians and kidnapping them is not the. I don't think international law signs off on that action. Right? I'm just guessing that is not the proper way to quote break a siege according to international law, as this individual claims.
Yeah, that's wild claim there. Just insane claim. Yeah. I love the legalistic sort of framing that she's taking with all this. I wasn't specifically talking about Hamas, obviously.
Right. I was talking about this totally recognized by international law, legally breaking of the siege via murdering civilians that often happened on October 7th by all the other people that were not affiliated with Hamas that were just, killing people for their own personal reasons. That's who I was supporting. That's so much better.
Broken through the siege, i.e., gone through the fences. Understandable. But they didn't, did they?
What do you mean?
Well, we know what happened on October the 7th. People went through those fences and those walls, and they went on to butcher innocent people. So what part of the Palestinian resistance on that day are you proud of, and what parts of it do you think shame you?
The aim of breaking through the siege was not going on and conducting any crimes. The point behind breaking of the siege and the resistance that I was referring to was breaking a siege, was breaking through an open-air prison, a concentration camp, which is illegal under international law. I never condone the harm of any innocent civilians nor will I ever, because that is a complete misrepresentation of my views and of my character.
Okay, so when you say that you are proud,
So, okay, listen. We've misunderstood this poor young woman, okay? What she's saying is that when they broke through the physical barrier of the gate, she was like, yes! And then when they went forward and started killing all these innocent people, she was like, oh no!
Right. Yeah.
But when they asked her about it, she forgot to mention the oh no part. It slipped her mind, right? She forgot about all the killing and kidnapping and sexual assault that happened after the breaking of the fence. She just only in her mind remembered the breaking of the fence, and then there's like a blank spot. And so she's like, I just meant like when they physically broke down the fence. That was the good part.
Yeah, that's what she's trying to pitch us as so she can get her visa back. She's like, please, 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 can I get my visa back?
that Palestinian resistance, by which you say not referring to Hamas, you say has come to this point. What does come to this point mean?
Resistance can be in numerous different forms. Resistance can be by simply existing in your homeland. Resistance can be through education. It can form many different forms. But resistance that is on the ground, that is resisting against an oppressive regime and an occupation.
Just not by killing innocent people.
No, obviously not.
Well, that's not obvious from what you say, Dana. With respect, that's not obvious from what you say.
It is obvious, Tom. If you try and break down the implicit biases that you have against Palestinians and against.
Oh my God! Whoa! The audacity.
Listen.
The audacity. She throws in the "you're a racist" card.
Yeah. That's like, the only reason. That's the only reason you thought she said what she said is because you're a racist.
It's not me. Look, it's you being racist against Palestinians. Palestinians, they're oppressed. They should be allowed to go out and murder and rape people indiscriminately, right?
But if you thought that I said that they should be allowed to kill and rape people indiscriminately, that's because you're a racist, because I didn't actually said that. I was just talking about when the fence came down. I didn't say anything about anything after that, all right?
Look, all this framing, open air prison, concentration camp, all this framing is what makes these people say this crazy shit and lose their visas.
Okay, let me. I found
sad.
her full or a longer quote that she said. Let me read this to you. She said, "This is the This longer quote is actually like makes it even more retarded. What she's saying. This is the first time. I don't know what the first time is that she's referring to. This is the first time that something like this happened in modern day history. For 16 years, Gaza has been under blockade, and for the first time, they're actively resisting, not on the defense. And that is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We are both in fear of how Israel will retaliate, but also we are full of pride and full of joy at what has happened."
Well, I mean, what has happened is a little open-ended just for saying breaching the fence, right?
Well, yeah, he says this is the first time this has happened in modern history. They're actively resisting, not just on defense. I mean, obviously, there's like no way.
Well, actively resisting is just breaking out of the open air prison.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Was she think that they were going to like? Oh, listen, they just broke out of the open air concentration camp because they wanted to join the dance party, and then the evil Israelis said you can't join the dance party, and then they just had to kill them because they were being so mean and not letting them dance with them.
Can you imagine if they would have just joined the dance party?
That would have been pretty based. Right? That'd have been a pretty good PR stunt, right?
Made Israel be the aggressors.
Yeah, how great would that have been?
They would have been mowing them down as they're dancing at a rave.
I know.
Intruders! Oh, then the whole international community would have been on Palestine's side. They would have been like, oh, what are you doing?
Right.
They were a threat. Did you not see them? They were dancing.
Mm-hmm.
They were dancing in Israel. They can't do that.
She said, this is what she said after her getting her visa revoked. Essentially, the Home Office claims that my presence in the UK threatens national security. They have said that the statements I've made support some sort of extremist views. Keep in mind, I'm a 19-year-old law student. All I've done in life is go to school and receive an education and advocate for social justice.
Look, you answered my question because I thought, this woman has to be studying to be an attorney. All this legalistic picking over
smart.
all of the testimony. what was really
Right.
intended. Like, she's taking it from a defense attorney's
That's a
perspective here.
great point. I
She's
didn't
probably
even.
going to be a defense
Yeah.
attorney one day.
There you go.
Yeah,
Listen, she's just advocating for social justice, Adam. That's what this is. Okay.
of
She's just a
course. Yeah,
social justice advocate.
yeah,
Yeah. An SJA.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bias is on display here.
Tom, let's put your biases on aside. Do you agree with what the Home Office has done in revoking my student visa for simply expressing my views of supporting Palestinians?
Look, and now they're debating the topic she wants to debate, freedom of
Right.
speech. Look,
Of
Tom,
course.
why do you want to suppress speech in this way? I thought you were a free speech advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Resisting oppression.
I actually I have issue with the Home Office doing what they've done, because I think the process should be that someone commits a crime before this happens. An expression of support for a prescribed terrorist organisation is a crime in this country. Have you been in contact with the police?
I've not been in contact with the police. Why would I?
Well, I mean, there might be some people, clearly the Home Office, feel that you've been saying things that are not just not conducive to the public good, but might be advocating a position that could lead people to be associated with terrorism.
Look, advocating, showing support for a terrorist organization in the UK is a crime.
Yep. They don't have freedom of speech in the UK.
They don't. Wow. That would never meet First Amendment scrutiny in the United States.
Listen,
You're allowed to say crazy shit in the US. Half
live
the
by
people
the
are
woke,
crazy.
die by the woke, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. You are a social justice advocate, right? These are the
Yeah.
laws that you are in favor of.
Right. Eat it.
But look, if they're oppressed, they're not a terrorist organization. They're only a terrorist organization if we say so.
Listen, this might be controversial, okay? Here in America, I agree. American citizens, freedom of speech, right?
Yeah.
Say whatever they want. But if you're not an American citizen, all right, you're here on a visa and you're all like supporting some terrorist organization murdering either Americans who some Americans were kidnapped.
Don't do it,
Or
sis. Don't do it.
or murdering our allies, and they're like, I support, this fucking evil terrorist organization doing some horrible shit. I'd say, yeah, let's revoke their fucking visa. I don't think we should be allowing people to become citizens of our country that are psychopaths, Adam. Right?
Look, it is an interesting complexity. I worry about the curtailing of speech, and I think obviously the UK is a perfect example of where these anti-speech laws have kind of, really screwed up their society in a way that is tangible, right? People are posting stuff on social media and the police are showing up on their door, right? Look, do we really want to go down that route? Now you make an interesting case here, because it is, if somebody is basically a guest in America and they're talking smack, I don't know. I'm going to have to side with the free speech crowd.
So the way that I look at immigration,
right,
and visa ship and all these things working in America is that we want, I'm totally fine with having immigration to America, but we should be having people that provide, some sort of social good to this country, right?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Right. So, I don't think we should, like, if someone's going to, listen, let me into your country, I'm going to not get a job and just do drugs all day, right? And you're going to pay for it. Like, obviously, we'd all say, okay, that person shouldn't be allowed in the country, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, if someone says, listen, I'm going to come in your country and I'm going to get a job as a lawyer, and I'm also going to advocate for, people to be terrorists.
Right. I'm going to foment anti-American sentiment.
Right. To be violent American terrorists because I hate your country. I'm going to say, no, you get the fuck out of my country. You don't get to come to this country. No, of course not. So that's what I see with the same thing with this girl. Why should any country have to subject itself to allow immigrants into the country that are advocating for terrorism?
Yeah, why should we open our arms to these people?
We shouldn't.
Even though, aren't you in danger of forming some sort of two-tiered legal system where immigrants are under some other
We have a two-tiered legal system. There's different rules that apply to immigrants and apply to citizens already.
Really?
Yeah.
But when you're a naturalized citizen,
That's
those go
different. You're a
away, right?
citizen.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You're
I'm not
talking about
against naturalized citizenship.
right. You're talking about people who come here to study and
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And there are different laws that apply to these people specifically.
Of course. What do you mean?
I don't.
They can't
I'm not
vote. They can't. They don't have all the same rights that that citizens of the country have.
right. Yeah, voting is obviously an area, but
Sure.
yeah, no,
It's not.
there's
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a separate water fountain for the non-citizens or something.
well, look,
Sure.
if you want a separate water fountain for the terrorist sympathizers, look, I'm open to that
You're in
idea.
favor of that.
But
Yeah.
it kind of outs them, right? If they're drinking at the terrorist sympathizer water fountain, you're like, oh, stay away from that person. Jeez.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should have. I'm in favor of laws against them, buying property and stuff like that, right? So
Right.
maybe
Right.
maybe I am in favor of this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen.
Speech is just it's so threatening to curtail speech because speech. There's this interpretive factor in speech that is scary, right?
Right.
And a lot of times, if you're saying, look, it's illegal to show verbal support for terrorist organizations, you're like, well, where's the line on that? It's fuzzy, it's gray, right?
You're completely correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
so-
understand there's a completely legitimate concern when it comes to protecting freedom of speech. I agree with you 100%.
Right. Look, if
Um,
I just do a poem on something, it's like the next thing you know, that's being spun as some tangible support for some terrorist organization.
Right. But I think if someone's applying to be a citizen of the country or just here on a visa, whether it's a work visa or a school visa, I don't think the same level of freedom of speech constraints or the lack of constraints that apply to citizens should apply to them. And I think if you're basically coming into the country as a guest and you're advocating for terrorism, then we say, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Okay.
Right.
You're a guest in our country, fuck off.
This is 100% Sitch accessing the loyalty betrayal moral
Yes.
foundation.
Yes, I'm deeping into my conservativeness. Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
he's
like,
saying,
no,
look,
you don't be a guest in my country and then, shit talk us or attack us. Fuck
you're a
out.
guest in our home. You're not going
Right.
to say that in our home, okay?
Yeah,
We can say that. It's our home.
exactly. At least have an anchor baby first, right?
Oh my God. And then the anchor baby can say all
Then
that
the
stuff.
exactly. Then the anchor baby can say it. Sure. They got to work
Right.
for it, right?
Yeah. No.
Tom, I've made it clear that I did not mention Hamas at any point in the interview, nor is it logical for anyone to conclude that I was supporting Hamas because I was simply supporting resistance. Resistance is consistent with international law. The breaking of the siege is consistent with international law, and that is as far as it goes.
Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Yeah. Okay.
So total nonsensical answer, obviously. Total BS. Lying
Well,
off
look,
her
it's-
ass. No one logically could have assumed that when I said the events after October 7th filled me with pride that I meant Hamas. I was talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
So she still hasn't been deported yet. So I guess
Right.
we'll see. We'll keep eyes on the story, see what happens.
It's
Okay?
just hoping. This is
Yeah, listen. Get her out.
back to Gaza with you.
Or wherever, yeah.
She's probably from Saudi Arabia or something.
I think no,
do
she's
we know
Palestinian.
where she's from?
She is Palestinian.
Right.
Yeah.
But look, a lot of people they're from
I mean, I don't know where
yeah,
where
they're
she's
from
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
somewhere in the Middle East, and they're like, "Look, I'm Palestinian." Right? It's
Right.
kind of like people in America saying, "Look, I'm 1/4 Native American. Look,
Sure.
I'm Senator Pocahontas. I'm 50%. I'm 50% Native American."
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a member of the Saudi royal family, but I'm Palestinian, so I'm oppressed.
Of course.
Come to my social justice law firm where I will get you oppression points.
That is like, so yeah, what happens if there's someone who has a student visa and they're from Gaza and then they get the visa revoked? Like what happened? Like, does Israel even allow them to be sent back to Gaza? I don't even know what would happen, like logistically to that situation.
Oof. Oof. That's a tough one.
Yeah. So if that's the case, man, no wonder she's sweating bullets. Like, no, listen. They beat it.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like, okay.
This is an interesting game. Well, what did you actually mean by that on October 7th? They're like completely uncovering
I know.
all this nastiness.
Okay. What do you guys think? Should people with visas be allowed to advocate for terrorism? Should they have the same free speech rights as
You want
citizens
to put a
of the
poll up?
country?
Let's put a poll up.
Put a poll up.
I'll put a poll up while you read
put a
the
poll up. I am
remaining
curious
super
as what people's
chats.
takes are on that. Solo for $5 says, ever hear of the amazing Lucas? 5 years ago, his brain broke. Now he's an anti-white ACAB YouTuber. Lots of material there.
Well, we should check it out. I vaguely remember watching some amazing Lucas videos.
So I'm looking at this guy. I've never seen his face before. His YouTube name sounds super familiar to me for some reason. I'm not sure I've ever seen a single thing he did. So, but I'll look, see if it's something interesting. It's complaining about Doctor Who. Obviously, Doctor Who's gone super, super woke. So,
well, of course, yeah. I might be on his side in that video.
No, but it seems
Unless
like he's complaining
saying
about
there needs to be more representation. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's saying there needs to be more representation in Doctor Who.
Right. Or he's just complaining about people complaining about the wokeness. So,
how do you want me to word this? Because should there be more speech restrictions is probably just the word restrictions is going to cause the poll to be completely tainted. That word restrictions.
Maybe we should just ask about this situation. Should it be send her back or let her stay? Because you're right. I had to word it. I don't know. Yeah.
Should we deport this
terrorist sympathizer?
Terrorist. She's in the UK, so should they deport? I'll just mix it up.
The conclusion is obvious. Make her have an anchor baby. Exactly. Your shorty doesn't like immigrants. Now you're going to pull them about people here in visas. Is that true, you guys? No one here likes immigrants. You'll hate immigrants. Terrible. I'm in favor of immigrants. Okay. I just think that I'm just against illegal immigrants. So.
Yeah, look, I'm pro-immigrant, obviously.
There was actually a debate I watched. I don't know if you saw it. It was Ann Coulter, someone I never heard of, and Jank arguing about immigration. Did you see that?
I did not know.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's interesting enough to cover. It's basically everything you'd expect of like the sides to say. You know, the anti-immigration side says immigration bad because of crime and bad things, and then the immigration good side said immigration good though, because like not crime and economy. You know, it's kind of like just the standard arguments. I don't think anything was actually, in my opinion, learned from the conversation. But and it was the guy with Jank was the guy we watched one of his videos way back. It's the guy that runs Reason magazine.
Oh yeah,
a libertarian guy.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Ostaf for $5 says the real PSA. Leave S class, get a promotion with the S Supreme A team. Be the brigadier general you always were meant to be. Wow, look at that. That's right, because A team is communist. All right, if you don't want to actually like work, for your S class status? Yeah, you just join the A team.
You're going full SJW here. What are you doing?
Well, you're a communist. What do you mean? You flatten the hierarchies, literally.
You're like
you're a dirty commie, Adam.
You're totally talking shit.
Comrade A-team, yes?
Do you really think this is bad? Look, this is a signature move of the SJW to just
To call someone a
completely.
communist? That's the signature move of the SJW?
No, to completely smear somebody without any kind of evidence or.
What the evidence is you've literally flattened the hierarchy of your organization to not
You
exist.
don't
There's
know
no
that.
hierarchy.
You don't
You
know.
said that. You literally said that. You said everyone's the same rank.
Look, if everyone in A team has the same sort of meritocratic skills to be a brigadier general, then no, I haven't flattened the
Oh,
hierarchy.
I see.
Look,
Okay.
we are just all amazing.
Uh-huh.
You guys are look, all the stupids over there
Oh, I see. It's just
who
every
can't
single
make the rank of brigadier general. That's why, I mean, that's why they go to S. I thought S class stood for stupid class, to be honest with you.
I see. Everyone in A team, they all have the same talent, the same level of amazing skill
Yeah.
that they all just by pure chance of coincidence all reach the exact same level of rank. Okay.
A stands for
of
awesome,
course.
man.
Of course, yeah. No, sure. A likely story. Okay. I'm gonna say no. A team is commie team. Okay. You're doing some I can't remember the name of that stupid short story thing. But yeah, just your pure commie team. Comrade A team. Yes, you all get promotion. You're all under dear leader, but they're all second command. Brigadier General. So there you go. Is that why you shoot red lasers from your eyes?
I mean, sometimes I shoot blue lasers if
Okay.
I'm feeling
Okay.
if I'm in the mood.
There you go. I like it. Iron Fist Adam, friended. There you go.
Yeah. Hang 'em high.
A team stands for authoritarian team.
Oh, whoa. Whoa. Let's not go crazy here.
There you go.
All right, I put your poll up. Should they deport terrorist sympathizers who are here on visas?
So far, 70 people voted. 72% say yes, 19% say no, 9% say they don't care.
I don't give a fuck.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah. The true
Albert
enlightened
for 16.
centrist.
There you go. Albert for 16 months says self-appointed 69th degree A-team lieutenant general over here. Well, there you go. Can they just give themselves whatever degree they want at him? Is that part of your commie stuff too?
Well, look, if it sounds cool, I'm going to go with it.
Okay. Kerm for $20. Thank you so much, Kerm. Says, good logic just posted a 15-minute video explaining the 14-year-old situation better. In my opinion, it's more damaging than the embezzlement. I don't know if you want to watch it on stream, but I recommend it if there's time. Just remember the call was 96 seconds. Well, I don't know if we'll watch it on stream today, but I'll watch it when the stream's over. If it's,
we can talk about it tomorrow.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. So yeah, I'll check it out. I like Joe. PC for $2 says, but how did she escape the open air prison? Now that, PC, is an excellent question. How did this individual manage to escape the open air prison, the open air Holocaust that was happening to her people? How did she escape that to get to London to go to school? That is the $1 million question, is it not?
Sure. Yeah.
James Hayes for 10 pounds. Thank you. Says, are you enlightened centrist going to cover the Destiny Gorka debate? I like Gorka, but I think he performed badly overall. Well, I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched it yet. I'll see if it's worth covering. If it is, we'll definitely talk about it. Brian for $5 says, it's pretty hilarious. She threw away the talking points that Hamas didn't do all the crimes against Israel, but it was unaffiliated mobs.
Right.
And then Brian for another $10 says, if the interviewer would ask her to stand on her claim that it is the Palestinian people that are murderers, rapists, and criminals, I doubt she would accept that. Yeah, he should have asked her, like, to denounce, like, do you denounce specifically the violence?
Yeah.
You know, he should have done the Piers Morgan, like, well, do you denounce the violence specifically? Like, you're just saying you just support them breaking down the physical fence, but then you denounce every action that took place after it, which is what everyone was talking about, obviously, at the rally that you went to. So,
what should they have done once they breached the barriers and entered Israel?
They should have joined the dance party, started dancing.
Right. Well, that's the right answer, but I don't know what she would answer.
Metalworks for 11.90 for $5 says, I'm still listening to the beginning of the show, but Adam, look up the indie game Sword Car. I think you might like it. Sword Car.
Nice. Look, if you're fighting with swords and you're in a car, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. Equal Shit Ox for $5 says, are you guys aware of Pearly Things beefing with and losing to female conservative pundits, especially Lauren Chen? Pearl just continues to backslide. Well, I wasn't aware of it until I watched the Tim Pool conversation where that comes up. They kind of talk about, the beef they have with each other. And part of it seemed to be that Pearl was defending, because of course she was. Pearl, who, in that conversation, it's so annoying. Pearl says so many contradictory statements, and she gets called out a little bit, but not a lot. Because it's like every time she has a conversation, it's insane. Okay, listen to this, Adam. In that conversation, Pearl she says that women are the root of all evil. Okay? Women are the root of all evil.
What the fuck? For real?
Right. Yeah.
For real.
Yes, she literally says women are the root of all evil. Now, you might be thinking like, well, she's talking about like biblically because she ate like, Eve ate the apple. No. She's not talking about biblically, right? So when when asked to be like, well, why do you think that? This is her answer. She says, well, when you look at, all the problems of crime in our society, what do you see? You see they're people raised by single mothers.
Oh.
So therefore, women are the root of all evil, right?
Whoa. Okay.
Right.
Interesting perspective. Like she's already stepping in it like rather heavily here.
So I thought about that for like 10 seconds. And I said, wait a minute. Pearl is saying that the reason the women are the root of all evil is because men are committing violent crimes.
But it's the women's fault, of course.
But it's the women's fault.
Why are you questioning this?
Okay. So it's like her big argument is that the women are the root of all evil because a bunch of men are committing violent crimes, and those men, some of them were disproportionately raised by single mothers. So the men, under Pearl's view, men have zero agency and are just like retarded children running around, and women have all the agency and thus all the responsibility for all of their actions, apparently, according to Pearl.
I hope you know the single mother trope. I
do know the single mother trope. Yes.
What is the implication?
She's saying they're black people with single mothers. I get it. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. But she's not even quite making that point because she's of the position that all the single mothers probably deserve to be single mothers because either they drove the men away or they're stealing the children from the men. She doesn't believe that deadbeat dads exist. She doesn't think that's a thing.
I mean, deadbeat dads, that goes back since the dawn of human civilization.
No,
right?
Not according to Pearl. It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Every time that there's a woman raising a child alone, it's because the woman did something wrong. Okay, I don't know if you know that, right?
The woman is always to blame.
Yes, the woman is always to blame. Okay?
Yeah, that's great for Pearl keeping her 99% male audience, I'm sure, but that's not actually accurate to the world, I think. Yeah.
I was just listening. I'm like, this is insane. It's like the women are the root of all evil because men commit more violent crimes because some of those men didn't have fathers. So therefore, that means women are the problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why? I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, I guess the men don't have responsibility for the actions. Why exactly do those men not have fathers? Oh, that's the women's fault too. Must be. Okay.
The men left obviously because the women were just nagging too much. Jeez, if only they could have been nicer.
And whenever she's like pressed for like evidence of this, she's like, well, listen, I've interviewed hundreds of men. I've interviewed thousands of men, and they all tell me the same thing. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, wow, that's strong evidence. You interviewed a bunch of people, and they all told you that it wasn't their fault. I mean, you've convinced me. Right.
I wish Lauren Southern could have been on this panel because wasn't she married to a guy that was like
that would have been good? Yeah, she would have provided some really good pushback, much better than the women on the panel did.
Yeah, she's smart, and I think she was in a relationship that she tried her hardest to make work, and then
well, according to her, obviously, it's we haven't heard the other side, but she seemed to be, well,
look, she's hot. I believe her.
That's true. There you go. We'll take the Pearl, but in reverse situation.
Oh yeah, she's
listen.
not hot, so we don't believe her. Is that what you're
No, no,
saying?
no. I mean, like whoever I interview, whatever they tell me, I believe them. I don't know if you know this. First of all, that is true. I'm not going to deny it. But secondly, okay,
Oh, Sitch. Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Did you? Oh,
I'm just saying you have Pearl here, who's
look,
basically like she's begging for a man. Okay, she's rich, or her family is rich. She's basically like, I will be your complete servant to you. I'll be your slave to you. And for some reason, she still can't get a guy. Like, what's going on there? She's got to be in like the worst headspace ever, right? She's like, why can't I get a man?
it's true, but I picture you on a live stream doing the same thing that Palestinian woman was doing, like trying to spin that comment as though it wasn't just
I'm like, I'm
like,
not getting deported.
like horrendous.
I'm not. Listen, Brittany Venti did a whole fucking video about how Pearl's ugly and needs to fix her makeup and
Oh, you're right.
stylist
Look,
game.
yeah.
Okay, I'll just
can-
point to that as Exhibit A. All right,
That's a good idea. Look,
There
you
you
can bring
go.
up the video.
bring up the video. Now, listen, Pearl has been trying to make. She's put work in. She's trying to get better, right? She's doing. She wasn't given a lot to work with, but
Better
she's,
content creator. Oh, come on, Sitch. Let's.
you know.
I mean, look, I'm not a big Pearl fan, but if you're gonna give someone a compliment,
Yeah.
I'm in favor of that. That's fine.
Okay.
Like if you want to say,
Uh-huh.
look, that girl's hot, right?
Okay.
If you
So
want to go in
saying-
the other direction,
Right.
it's
That's
like
true.
a little-
I'm glad we found the line. Saying women are the root of all evil, like, that's fine. Saying this chick is ugly, well, that's really pushing it. That's the line.
Well, I mean, you could say it obviously, but I mean, it's just how much detail do you want to go? Pretty soon, you
Okay.
start looking like the bad guy. So
I got you.
you look like the bad guy.
Fair enough. But it was completely insane. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing, but we'll definitely at some point watch clips and we'll maybe stream it or do a video. We had to do some react. Some of this shit she was saying in that video was like insane. So and it was lame because like we watched the video with Tim talking to Elijah Schaffer. Elijah Schaffer, by the way, I just saw a clip of him talking about why racism is good. It's a good thing, but that's a whole nother story.
What?
Yeah.
Holy what?
Right.
Why aren't we covering that video?
Well, I
That
want to
sounds
find
crazy.
like the whole video to make sure it's not cut out of context.
Oh, okay.
But
Someone set him up.
I'm skeptical. It seems to be cut context, but I always like to check before we go.
Oh my
watch
God.
them. So maybe we'll cover that at some point. But so but anyway, Elijah Schaffer was on Tim's show, and Tim was providing all sorts of pushback to the Jewish question nonsense, and he's got like Pearl, on saying like the craziest, dumbest shit about women ever. And Tim's just like, whatever. He doesn't care. He's just silent
No.
or just like
Because he agrees with that take.
guess.
He wants.
It's like,
he's
it's
like
crazy.
all these women. There's a narrative that's forming on the right. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally disgusting to me. But the narrative is that women got the right to vote, and that's when society fell apart.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the narrative that's forming. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Andrew Haskins for 16 months says A-Team is Team America, US bus riders. What is it? Bus riders? That's a weird
Short
insult.
bus.
But
Short bus. Come on.
Oh, I get it. Why
Look.
didn't they
Well,
say
look. If he was a
short
bit
bus then?
smarter, he would have got that
That's
joke.
true. That's
Let's
true.
be honest here.
That's true. Okay. Okay.
Look,
listen.
look. I've wounded him. Sitch is literally down about this.
Listen. I get it, comrade. Okay, we have comrade Andrew here who wants to protect. He's got to
Oh
make
my
sure he
God.
toes the A-Team line. Otherwise, he'll get kicked out of A-Team and sent to the gulag. Right? I get it. I get you have to be performative for your comrades. All right.
Look at this, Mr. Ubercross coming in with the 10 gifted memberships. I want you to know
Yeah.
that I resisted going full bore on the attorney jokes during the segment with the Palestinian
Thank
future
you.
attorney. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So, but thank you, Mr. Ubercross.
Thank you, Mr.
obviously,
Ubercross.
our resident attorney in
Right.
the chat. So,
Angry Bellsprout for $5 says, "Did you see the video I left in last stream's comments? I seen the other one said they can't. If not, I'll DM both of you
I didn't see it. No, you can go ahead
in
and
the
DM me.
comment section."
Yeah.
I don't read the comments. What are you talking?
Yeah, you got to DM Sitch. I'm the only one that reads the comments, but my dad had a birthday party, so that's why we didn't stream on Sunday. So
Yeah. But yeah, no, send it to me and I'll look at it. Karen Man 502 for $2 says, please watch her debate Trent Horn. Oh, Pearl debated Trent Horn.
okay,
I'll
cool.
check it
Sounds
out.
fun.
Is marriage a bad deal for men? Okay. I'll check it out. Yeah, she's all very anti-marriage, so it's weird that there's like this weird contingency of like, I guess the like right who isn't really conservative at all, but just doesn't like women. It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, I guess it makes sense why Andrew Tate and Sneeko both became like, they both want to start appealing to like becoming Muslim. Like
Right.
we want to sort of like appeal to the anti-woke right, but we don't really want to have all those like Christian social conservative values that they preach. So how do I like become a right winger, but also get to treat my woman like shit? I know. What if I become like a fundamentalist Muslim?
Right. Yeah. Because then you get the harem too, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly. Or you can, depending on whatever version you follow.
they're in
So,
favor of polygamy.
well, some of them are. I think that's mostly in Africa. I don't know if
All
any
of
of the
them
Middle
are.
Eastern ones are in favor of that anymore.
No,
Really? I'm not sure
can't
that's the case. But
believe
anyway,
you're. Okay, go ahead.
but anyway, so yeah, so it's kind of like this. To me, it seems like such an obvious grift. But
Yeah.
Brian for $20 says, "Excuse me, the red pill is not right wing. They're basically feminists for men. They are left wingers through and through, and it's the reason why Pearly Things has been getting dunked on by actual conservative women and men." So I kind of like, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. They're not conservative. They're definitely not conservative. They don't have socially conservative values. But the people that fall into the red pill, and I don't know, maybe they're just super anti-woke, so they seems like they're on the right, but they're not. They definitely seem like they're somehow would be aligned with the right-wing politics. Though maybe they're not. Maybe I would be curious for these people to take a moral foundations test to see where they line up.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe
great.
maybe they're just anti-woke, like vehemently anti-woke because they just hate women, and so it makes them seem like they're right affiliated and they're not. But I would be curious. 95 Keat for $20. Thank you so much. Says the parents that make the cars are old Eagle Scouts. Just you wait. When little Sitch is making his cool but slow car, you'll smile. But by the end of the night, you'll grab it out of his hands and spend all night with the sander.
That's good.
There you go. There you go. Listen, I'm going to let him lose. It builds character. Okay.
Ooh, ouch. That's some tough love there, but sometimes that's
Right.
necessary.
I feel like it's so easy now because, as I said, the kids could literally listen. My child, okay, my theoretical, hypothetical child, when they're
Right.
of Pinewood Derby age, they're going to be able to like ask the AI bot how to build the perfect car, and it's going to like print out the exact schematics for them. All right.
Oh yeah, of course.
So,
Or are we
it'll
going
be
to give you
easy.
options?
Right. And then my grandchild, they're just going to program the replicator to make it. They're not even going to do it themselves. So,
Nice. Already on to grandchildren. That was
there you go.
fast.
Well, I'm just thinking about the time spans here. Okay.
Is that it? Are
Solo
we
Doge
good?
for 2 hours
Oh,
says going to second the free run recommendation. It does an excellent job of balancing different levels of character conflict without making every problem the end of the world. Very well written show with awesome action scenes too. Wow. Well, there you
the
go.
free reign?
The free run.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wrote it down so I can
Okay,
check it
I'll
out. It's
check
on
it out.
Netflix. Netflix.
Netfucks. Zokay for $2 says, quote, I'm not going to stand here and listen to you badmouth the greatest democracy the world has ever known. J.C. Denton from Deus Ex.
Mm-hmm.
True. America, baby.
Oh, I thought they were talking about Canada. I was
What?
about to laugh.
Hell no. Okay. Anything else, Adam?
No, we should stop going so hard on our Canadian fans, but it's so much fun.
Listen, they're asking for it, okay? Did you see what Canada's wearing?
Oh yeah.
Lounging
yeah.
around above us wearing their silly hats with their silly mooses running around and their silly red outfits, thinking they're so goofy. They're asking for it.
So get Rick Rod's super chat so we don't have to get it 6 months from now.
Rick Ron 95 for $5 says, quote, what did you mean when you said this on October 7th is pretty much the new, where were you on 9/11?
It is.
It's
It's all
true.
kinds of fun. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's it. Take care,
Take
you
care.
guys.
See you tomorrow.